Okay, well, welcome back, folks. We just started the YouTube live broadcast. To head over to that live feed, that radio only or audio only stream, you can head to Mayhem social media sites. There's a link posted there and on our previous post, and there's also a video on our YouTube channel. You can check it out that way. But anyways, you have just been introduced to the broadcast tonight because of the delay. There was an accident on the road from our officials that were coming down to officiate tonight's game. Fortunately, they are safe, they are healthy, and they'll be able to continue as planned, though there will be a delay. So 8:08 is the expected puck drop time, so roughly 18 and a half minutes from now or so is what I'm being told. Nolan Bloyer, Rocco Stachowiak, and Chase Wilkinson are tonight's referee. The latter two are the linesmen. They're the officials. The latter two are the linesmen, and the referee, of course, is Nolan Bloyer, who we've not seen officiating a game yet for the Mayhem this season, at least not in this building, so we'll see how he fares. But the important fact of the matter is that they're okay, and they've made it, and it just serves as a reminder to all of you listening tonight to please do drive safely if you have to leave for any reason. I know it's cold pretty much everywhere right now, and if you have to leave the house for any reason, do take caution, because this inclement weather has really caused a lot of accidents, and a lot of I've got a really close friend of mine who works in car insurance, and she told me the call centers have just been going out of control with people calling and asking for emergency tows and whatnot, and the emergency response time is all the way up to 3.5 to 4 hours for a lot of folks who get stranded. So it just hasn't been good. So if at all possible, my recommendation would be to stay off the roads in general. Unfortunately, we'll still be able to proceed tonight, however, in about 17 minutes or so. So let's take a look at tonight's three keys of the game for the Mayhem, and then we'll take a brief pause. When we come back, we'll have a pregame interview with Mayhem head coach Leo Thomas. So first and foremost, scoring the first goal. Finally, the spell was broken. The Mayhem scored first in Huntsville last Saturday night and lost the game. So that was the first time all season in which they'd scored first and didn't go on to win. They're now 18-1 when that happens, however, which is still a pretty darn good winning percentage, just shy of 95% if my math serves me right. So scoring the first goal will be paramount tonight for the Mayhem against an opponent they do not see very often. We'll get to the Peoria Rivermen in a second. Number two, involving the defensemen in the attack. Mayhem have had a lot of high contributions from their defensemen lately. Kristaps Bazovic had a brilliant play last weekend to center for John Seamer, who ultimately scored the game-winning goal with that play. Larry Smith has been spectacular lately. His family's in attendance tonight, drove here all the way from Buffalo, New York to watch him play this weekend. Zach Urban is back. He's looking to contribute offensively again. And Jarrett Cupp, boy, has he been on a tear lately. Cupp's got 2 goals and 5 assists in his last 4 games, so he's been on fire. So these Mayhem defensemen are really kicking it into high gear, so involving them in the attack is going to be important. And finally, taking advantage on power plays. The Mayhem starting to pick things up on the power play a little bit. They've inched back up to north of 16%, which is good considering where they were for a while this year. They're still 8th place in the SPHL, still a lot of work to do. But Peoria's penalty kill was very good to start the season, but this past weekend in Pensacola, they struggled. The Ice Flyers scored 2 power play goals against them on Sunday, so taking advantage of a slightly struggling penalty kill unit is our third and final key of tonight's game for the Mayhem. So like we promised, folks, we'll get to our starting lineups and interview with Mayhem head coach Leo Thomas and more in a moment. Just wanted to fill you folks in on what's going on. About 15 minutes or so before puck drop right here at the Macon Centreplex. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on SPHL Live, powered by New Lion and on YouTube. This will be our first of 3 Thursday night games at the Macon Centreplex this season. We'll be back in a few moments, folks, for your interview with Mayhem head coach Leo Thomas and so much more. Keep it right here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Okay, well, welcome back, folks. We're just about 8.5 minutes out from puck drop here at the Macon Centreplex. We apologize for this delay, but we're just about all ready to roll. As promised, we're going to play back an interview from Mayhem head coach in his first season behind the bench with the Macon Mayhem, Leo Thomas, who has led the Mayhem through their first 33 games to a 21-9-3 start. Here's Leo coming up next. For some Thursday time, we could say that this season, and as luck would have it, we are actually delayed by a little bit, but we should be getting underway shortly. I had the chance to catch up with Mayhem head coach Leo Thomas. Coach, as always, I appreciate your time. Now, if you could just briefly for us summarize the past weekend with the home-and-home series with the Huntsville Havoc, and what were some of the takeaways from that series?
Yeah, it was definitely anytime you can get a split, obviously we want to get both games, but I thought, the home game, we came out right out the bat. We had a great start, and that's something that we've been doing the last few games, so that was a good positive, and played a great game, played a whole 60 minutes, and came up with a big win there. And the next night in Huntsville, didn't really have the start that we wanted. Or no, we did. Sorry, we got the 2 goals, but we just couldn't hang on to. We kind of sat back and let them get back in the game. And it was a tough loss, knowing that we didn't play our best game, but we happened to stick around and lose by 1 goal. So hopefully this weekend it goes a little better.
That's right. The Mayhem competed in a very tough building against Huntsville, a team that had won 5 games in a row until they met up with the Mayhem last Friday night. And it was actually the first game in which the Mayhem actually scored the first goal and didn't go on to win the game. So it's that spell had to be broken eventually. But, Coach, I want to talk about Zach Urban. He made his return to action last Saturday on the road. What sort of impact did he have on this team, his return to action last Saturday night?
Yeah, Zach's a big part of this team, and I'm glad that he got to go through the stuff up there in the coast. He actually was in a great position. The All-Star game was in Toledo, so he was a part of that whole All-Star experience over there. So, but yeah, no, to get him back, he's one of the leaders in the room. He's the big D-man that we rely on back there, and he's gonna be back on our power play, and just to have his personality and stuff back in the room is huge for us. So he's a guy who he doesn't know yet, but he'll be sporting Sumolitis is A until he gets back. So we're definitely glad to have Irvs back.
Well, you just answered my next question. That's really exciting. We weren't sure if we'd see anyone else assume that vacancy, that assistant captain role, but it sounds like Zach Urban will be the next player to be graced with an A on his sweater. It's one of the labeled leaders in the Mayhem locker room, though there are several. Coach, a 3-game homestand coming up. It's our first 3-game homestand that we've had all season, or first 3 games back to back like this. Is there anything different in terms of the preparation that has to be done going into such an extensive 3-game stint like this?
Not really. It's a good thing that it's against the same team. At least we're at home. We got their, we can do our video here first thing in the morning kind of thing. We don't got to worry about being in, hotel and stuff like that. But I'm glad that it's against Peoria. This is a team that I've been waiting to play, just to kind of see where our team's at. So looking forward to it. Preparation-wise, like I said, it's good to actually be home back-to-back nights, so we look forward to that.
And Peoria is a team we've not faced all season, but they've had one heck of a start to their year at 26-3-4 right now, at the top of the SPHL leaderboards by a pretty big margin. I'm sure that then you and assistant coach Ryan Michael have done your homework on this team, since we haven't played them at all this season. But what can you tell us about them just from watching them and knowing their head coach Jean Guy Trudel pretty well as well?
Yeah, they're a very well coached team. Obviously, Jean Guy puts together very successful teams every year. So we've done a lot of video on them, obviously, to prepare for this weekend. And, they're very skilled. They got skill on the back end too, so they can hurt you both ends, offensive and defensively. So we just got to make sure we're on top of things and all the stuff that we went over on video. And I feel very confident playing against them. So it should be a great weekend. I look forward to it.
It'll be interesting. Both these teams very good defensively. They're the lowest two in terms of goals against or goals allowed per game in the entire SPHL. But oftentimes when you get two teams clashing together that don't play each other very often, you'll see goals and plays that don't often work that do work in some situations. So we'll see if that happens tonight and this weekend. Last question for you, Coach. We've got college night tonight, superhero night tomorrow night, and of course camo night on Saturday. Which one are you looking forward to most and why?
That's a good question. Probably superhero night. I'm just big kind of superhero guy. Marvel movies and stuff like that. So that'd be pretty cool. And hopefully see some people dressed up in some costumes and stuff like that. I definitely have to pick that one.
Little birdie told me that the Hulk was going to be here introducing fans to the arena tomorrow night, so we're looking forward to that. We've also got a superhero contest challenge going on during the game tomorrow, so it should be a lot of fun. But, Coach, I'll let you get back to it. Appreciate your time.
Hey, thank you.
That's Leo Thomas, your Macon Mayhem's head coach. This has been your pregame show, and we'll be back in a moment with your starting lineups and more right after this.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on SPHL Live, powered by New Line and on YouTube. We're glad you decided to join us. It's our first Thursday night tilt in this building all season. The starting lineups, as promised for the Peoria Rivermen, are as follows. Up front, they're going with Dean Yakura, Mike Gertler, who's a Peoria Rivermen veteran. He's in his fourth season with the organization. And Pius Rulavicius is a former Evansville Thunderbolt. That's where he started the season. He can be a troublemaker out there at times. He's third in the entire SPHL in penalty minutes this season with 78 through 33 games. So number 18 in white will be a player to watch out for several reasons. For Leo Thomas and the Macon Mayhem, Rulavicius with 16 points through 33 games. On defense, Ben Oscroba, the alternate captain, alongside Nick Neville. High-scoring blue liner, 19 points through 28 games, played for Jean-Guy Trudel's squad, which leads all Rivermen defensemen in scoring. So number 25 from the blue line, somebody that the Mayhem are going to want to close in on and take away time and space from. In net, they're going with veteran netminder Storm Phaneuf. Now, Phaneuf has sort of served as an understudy this season to Stephen Klein, who's been Trudel's go-to goaltender. Klein sports a 14-3-1 record, leads the league in goals against and save percentage among qualified goaltenders, having played 10 games or more. But Storm Phaneuf is just one game shy of that, and if he can have a good game tonight, he might pass Stephen Klein in that department. So Peoria's goaltending this season, folks, has been outstanding. And Storm Phaneuf is somebody who's got some memories he probably does not want to relive from this building. In fact, 2 years ago, when the Rivermen faced off against the Mayhem in this very building in the SPHL championship game in Game 3 in a best-of-3 series, Storm Phaneuf was the goaltender when the Mayhem won the President's Cup for the first time in franchise history. So he was, as a matter of fact, he was in the photograph on the picture of the magazine, or the newspaper rather, titled "Macon Has a Championship" the day after they won it all. So Storm Phaneuf with a lot of history in this building, some of it good, some of it he would like to forget about, but tonight it's all about getting 2 points for him. On the Mayhem side of things, the starting lineups will be announced much more emphatically by our public address announcer Charles Olson in just a minute. Tonight, folks, is College Night, brought to you by Georgia Military College in Warner Robins and by Ann E. Parman's law firm. Our first Thursday night home game of the season, first of 3. We will have 2 more after this. The next 2 will be in February, on February 21st against the Evansville Thunderbolts, and then again on February 28th, a week later, against the Birmingham Bulls. First and foremost, the introduction of our beloved mascot here in Mactown, Mac the mascot. He was unavailable for last weekend's game, last Friday night's game on Stranger Things night, because he was stuck in the upside down, but we were able to go in there, rescue him, and now he's good to go. It's great to see him skating around the Centreplex ice once again. On defense for the Mayhem, starting on right D, Zach Urban, who's playing his first home game since rejoining the organization, and for the first time, he's got an A on his sweater. He was described by Leo Thomas as one of the leaders in the locker room. Stathis is no longer here, so the A went to Zach Urban. Kristaps Bazovic was his customary defensive partner when he was here before going up to Toledo, and the two of them really built up some great chemistry, so he will be alongside Bazovic tonight, will Zach Urban. John Seamer, one of the other alternate captains, who's been on an absolute tear of late. 9 points in his last 4 games, all of which he's scored a point in. Number 17 for the Mayhem, celebrating his 27th birthday tonight. Derek Sutliff, also on a 4-game point streak, will line up on the left side of John Seamer, who will center this top unit for Leo Thomas and the Mayhem. Finished off by the Mayhem's leading scorer, Jake Trask, who's got 32 points so far this season in just 26 games. And then Tanner Creel, making his Mayhem debut, skates out there for the first time to get ready for a home game here at the Centreplex. He's played at this building plenty of times before, though he was with the other side, with the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs earlier this season. In fact, one of his best games all season with the Rail Yard Dogs came against the Mayhem in this building, in which he really shut them down. So it'll be fun to watch Tanner Creel making his Mayhem debut tonight. Creel sporting the number 30, which was Jordan Ruby's number until pretty recently when Creel was brought aboard from Roanoke. Ruby still, of course, with the Pittsburgh Penguins farm team in the ECHL, the Wheeling Nailers. He actually just played the other day and got another win under his belt up in Wheeling. Singing of our country's national anthem is next, folks. Stay tuned. Well, Kristen Belkin doing an outstanding job of the singing of our country's national anthem. Lovely rendition of it. The Mayhem starting lineups again are as follows. They're going with their big guns up front. John Seamer, Jake Trask, Derek Sutliff, all of them have been red hot of late. On defense, Kristaps Bazovic on the left, Zach Urban on the right. Between the pipes, Tanner Creel making his Mayhem debut. Ian Silvis has gotten the last number of starts, and we'll look to see how Tanner does in his first game in this uniform. They're countered by Peoria for the first time this season. Dean Yakura, Mike Gertler, and Pius Rulavicius up front. On defense, Jean-Guy Trudel has gone with Ben Ascroba and Nick Neville, who leads all Rivermen defensemen in scoring this season with 4 goals and 15 assists, making 19 points through 28 games played. In net, Storm Phaneuf, hoping to redeem himself after some starts in this building, though he did play well. He did not get the result he wanted. Some very huge games he's played in this building in the postseason and the regular season alike over the years in his tenure with the Peoria Rivermen. The referee for tonight's game, again, folks, is Nolan Bloyer. The linesmen are Rocco Stachowiak and Chase Wilkinson. This game is brought to you by Georgia Military College of Warner Robins and by Ann E. Parman's law firm. John Seamer gets set to take the opening faceoff against Dean Yakura. Peoria coming into this game, best team in the SPHL. They've got the most goals per game. They've allowed the fewest goals per game. They have the best shots for per game, the best shots against per game. Best record, 10 points ahead of the Birmingham Bulls for second place. They're 26-3-4 are the Peoria Rivermen, but they have not faced the likes of the Macon Mayhem yet this season. Both of these teams will be challenged in several ways tonight, in ways they've not been challenged all season long. They enter this game as the top 2 defensive teams in the entire SPHL. Let's see what happens tonight. We've all been looking forward to this one, and we're now underway. It's tapped along down the left wing side and flung out in the direction of Derek Sutliff from Zach Urban, who will chop it into the left corner, Will Sutliff. It's rimmed around out to the far side. Seamer cuts off the clearing attempt. That was made there by Ben Oskroba. And now Zach Urban will fake a slap shot from the point, send it to the side of the net where it's picked off and cleared out by Oskroba. Up the left side for Pius Rulavicius and furthered there for Dean Yaskura. He will chip it in. And that's Dean Yakura, I beg your pardon. And Peoria getting an early line change underway as John Seamer will reset with it behind his own net and now drop it for Zach Urban. Urban up around the wall for Derek Sutliff, who's stymied by Ben Blasco. Blasco's been on an absolute tear of late for the Peoria Rivermen, and we'll get to that in a second as John Seamer tries to dance his way in. He's pickpocketed, and out comes Peoria with it. Blasco's got it on his stick, and he will feather it up to Austin Veith. He mishandled it. The Mayhem in transition. Reynolds pass between the skates of Cameron. And Cameron will try to put the body up on Ralph Grinbergs, a good friend and former teammate of Kristaps Bazovics, both of whom Latvians and former Mississippi River Kings, as Bo Walker sends one across the width of the ice, hoping for Blasco. It went off of the stick of Taylor Love, and it's reset now. Jarrett Cupp's got it behind his own net. Jarrett Cupp, 2 goals and 5 assists, 7 points in his last 4 games. He's been red hot, the Mayhem's number 8. As Storm Phaneuf will send it aside now on his tape is Ralph Grinsberg, who will spear it one ahead. Hagman steps in across the Macon blue line and feeds one over to the late man who took a blowout, Aaron Atwell, losing the puck in the process. Alex Tallien on the counterattack. Lost the puck as it slips through the slot. Cleared aside by Phaneuf, kept in the zone. Smith with a long flipper. Lipmet missed the left post as Phaneuf will deny a sharp angle bid taken by Tallien. The puck squirts past the stick of Minerva all the way down. No icing here as it went off Minerva's blade, and Tanner Creel will play it from behind his own net, wraps it around the boards out to the near side. Ronsberg will chop it up in the direction of Stephen Caligiuri, who will return it for Ronsberg. Nice skate-to-stick reception. Ronsberg now playing it forward once again. With the return of Zach Urban, Ronsberg has happily embraced his previous role as a forward for the Mayhem, though he played as a defenseman quite well in the absence of some Mayhem defensemen earlier this season. Bazovics will now put the body up on his man in the corner on the near side. That's Mike Gertler. Gertler fights for it. It squeaks around the boards out towards Mike Chimello. He takes a swat at it. It's kept in the zone, however, by Ben Oskroba, one of the Rivermen's alternate captains. Now they fight away for possession in the far half wall. Pivoting with it behind the net is Yakura, who put it in front, and it was hacked wide of the goal there by Pius Rulavicius. Kept in the zone from the left point by Kevin Patterson and feathered into the near corner. Bazovics will scoop it up. Kevin Patterson, former teammate of Larry Smith. They played together at Niagara University in the Atlantic Hockey Conference. 2 of them pretty good friends as well. They played defense together up at Niagara. And Seamer will chase it down far corner near the Ortho Georgia orthopedic specialist dasher board. Trask ends up with it. He spins with it. Tries to slip it through a pair of Peoria skates. No luck with that. The Rivermen have just cleared it out to neutral territory. Taylor Love's got it in his own zone. 16.5 to play here in period 1. No score at the Mac Shack. The Mayhem hosting the Peoria Rivermen and facing them for the first time all season in the first game of a 3-game home stint against the league-leading Rivermen. Outlet pass finds Seamer. He redirects it over towards Sutliff. Never quite got to him as Patterson takes over instead. Put it behind his own net. It's whacked back to him. He will shovel it over to the far half wall, and the Rivermen are out of their own zone. It's skated through center by Jake Hamilton. He puts it across the blue line. A bit of a mishap as Seamer takes over and starts it down his off wing on the other way. Drops it for Tallien. His shot, pad save. Big rebound. Stopped again by Phaneuf. He made a couple of saves, both of which were stopped with his pads, and he keeps this game scoreless. The Rivermen in the transition period here as they get some fresh bodies out there. Grinbergs takes a shot stopped by Tanner Creel. Got down on the butterfly quickly enough to deny the Latvian-born defenseman. Now it's Caleb Cameron skating it down the other way. Runs into lots of traffic. Grinbergs gets it now in his own zone. He will split one up the middle of the ice. Justin Greenberg, the Green Bay Gamblers draft pick, will dish it off to his right. and get the return pass from Alec Hageman, who feeds it up to the right point, his off point. Grinberg's with a D-to-D pass. Into the middle it goes. A shot is blocked. Sean Reynolds picks it up, and Tallene is sprung from him. Reynolds will just finish out the dirty work and chip it in from the red line, going after it himself, and puts Grinberg's into the corner boards on the far side of the ice. He went more for body than he did for puck, but more power to him. The Mayhem are able to win possession regardless, as Ronsberg fights for it in the corner on the near side. Seth Ronsberg, a native of Lake Elmo, Minnesota. I can't help but wonder what the temperature is back there. Aaron Atwell, the former Danville Dasher, will rim one around out to neutral territory. Bazovic with a timely step. It's taken away by Dean Yakura. And given back to Atwell, who's pursued by Ronsberg. Doing some forechecking for the first time in a while. He's not really had to do that recently. And it's chipped into the left corner to the Mayhem zone. Tanner Creel will just watch it go as Vinny Caligiuri finishes his check on Dean Yakura. A six-man scrum takes place behind the Macon net. Urban ends up with it and feeds it up to Ronsberg. He's checked by Rula Vicious, and Ronsberg will just shovel it into the left corner from the red line and head to the Macon bench. A fire wagon line change is now imminent for the Mayhem. We've had very few whistles, if any, so far in this game, which is now 6 minutes old. Hardly any stoppages whatsoever so far. It's been pretty much what we expected from two of the top teams, arguably the two top teams in the entire SPHL. No icing here. The Rivermen have cleared it down off a redirect. Taylor Love from behind his own net will dish it off to Jake Trask on his right. Trask gets rid of it just in time before being checked by Yakura. Now Jarrett Cupp has it. Trask is in some discomfort as he skates back to the Mayhem bench. In the meantime, Jarrett Cupp has it behind his own net. He'll feed it off to his left. Taylor Love is there. He angles it off the glass. Doesn't squeak past Grinbergs, who is checked into the sideboards. And now Veith racing down the right side will take a sharp angle shot. Pad save made by Creel, and Seamer takes a look, flings it up ice. Nice pass, heads up play. Sutliff drives, one hands a shot on goal. Storm Fanuff makes the save. The net comes off, and we get a whistle stopping play. Derek Sutliff drew a hook on the way through, driving, rather a hold by the back-checking defenseman there, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was Nick Neville, who's going to take a seat for holding. And for the first time tonight, the Mayhem will go to the power play. This Mayhem power play will be brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe. 13-13 to go here in period one. We've got no score at the Macon Centreplex. One of our keys of tonight's game was taking advantage on power plays. That was our third and final and perhaps most important key of the game, because Peoria, albeit a strong team on the penalty kill, has not been spectacular lately. They struggled when down in Pensacola on the PK. The Ice Flyers, 2 of their 3 goals on Sunday night came while on the power play. And Pensacola's power play is really nothing to write home about, folks. They're just 7th in the SPHL, a 17.8% success rate. So the fact that they were able to get 2 goals on Peoria's penalty kill in their last game says a little bit. We'll see if the Mayhem, who have similarly have struggled on the power play this season, we'll see if they can generate some attack on this man advantage. It's looked good recently, and I watched it practice the other day, folks. They were really cycling the puck around very well. Now, of course, practice is a lot different. There weren't really people deliberately defending them, but all the same, that top unit with Trask, Seamer, Cameron, and Bazovic and Urban were really cycling the puck around beautifully. But right now it's the second power play unit out there for Macon. Tanner Creel dishes it away from danger. And that danger came in the presence of Mike Gertler, who retreats back to assume the F2 position. Check that, it was Justin Greenberg rather, not Gertler. Fed out to Cupp. Cupp will backhand it into the attacking zone. Fighting for possession there is Sean Reynolds, who's wrapped up well and taken into the boards off the puck. Hageman clears it, is clipped by Minerva. That's going to be a penalty. He'll be lucky if it's just 2. Hageman is down, just getting back up. This might be kneeing. It will be, and Minerva is going to take a seat. And Alec Hageman, who's gotten into some penalty trouble all season himself. He's second in the entire league in penalty minutes with 88 on the season. But he has just drawn a penalty and is on the other side of the coin now. It's Minerva who's second on the Mayhem in penalty minutes this season, behind only Alexander Tallene. Minerva on the campaign's got 46. And fortunately for him, it's only a 2-minute minor. Some bad news, folks. I just saw Jake Trask escorted by Lisa Connolly, the Mayhem's trainer, down the tunnel in that last stoppage. So that's the Mayhem's top scorer, and they cannot afford to lose him. We hope Jake is okay as he gets looked at by our outstanding trainer, Lisa Connolly. The Mayhem emerge with possession of the puck as Seamer will dance his way through center. Sutliff couldn't hold the line, so an offside whistle is the call, as per the linesman Chase Wilkinson. We're glad that the linesman and the referee all made it here safely, folks. For those of you just now tuning in who are or who did not hear what happened, there was a delay in the start of tonight's game by about 45 minutes or so because the officials got themselves into a bit of car trouble. There was an accident on the way home just south of Atlanta, but they're okay. Slap shot from the right circle, score! It was fired by Bo Walker from above the right circle, and for Tanner Creel, not a good goal to give up in his Mayhem debut, but an absolute howitzer coming off the stick of Bo Walker. The Rivermen have taken a 1-0 lead with 12:17 to play in the first period. The Rivs lead 1-0 with a 4-on-4 snipe by Bo Walker, his third goal of the season. So Lisa Connolly has returned to the Macon bench, sans Jake Trask, so we hope everything is okay with him. We'll keep you updated on that as it develops. Neutral zone face-off win by the Rivermen, and Hamilton will go back to get it deep in his own zone. He turns away from Mike Cimello. Mike Cimello, the Toronto, Ontario native, had a backyard ice rink growing up that he used to play on all the time as a kid. He presumably knows how to use the open ice pretty well, so he's out there on the 4-on-4. Patterson, diagonal pass out towards the Macon bench. It's dumped in by Rula Vicious and scooped up by Larry Smith. Smith's pass is turned over, and it's a breakaway the other way for Hageman, who shoots and scores right through the 5-hole of Tanner Creel, and just like that, Peoria's jumped out to a 2-0 lead. So that's Alec Hageman's 12th goal on the season. 2 goals coming on the 4-on-4 for Peoria, and they have just taken control of this game as Phaneuf inadvertently kicks one of the pegs off of its moorings, and the Rivermen will skate it back out to neutral territory. Hageman stops, and at the right point, he will swing it over to the left point, where it's fed down at Karams off the corner boards on the far side. The Rivermen are back to full strength. So they've got a 30-second power play coming up here. This Mayhem penalty kill brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning as a pass coming from the stick of Ben Escroba slithers through the goal mouth and out the other side. Urban blasting it around the boards. Goes out of play. This will not be a delay of game penalty as the referee, Nolan Bloyer, signaling that it deflected off of a Riverman stick. Boy, folks, the Macon bench looks really short right now. It almost looks like there's more than just Jake Trask missing. We're approaching the halfway point of period 1. 2-0 Peoria is your score. Still nothing about Trask. We have not seen or heard about anything since Lisa Connolly escorted him off the ice. And right now, it looks like, I'm trying to identify who that is over on the right side of John Seamer. I believe it's Larry Smith. Larry Smith making an uncharacteristic turnover from his own zone. The pass was intercepted by Alec Hageman, who raced it back down the other side, down the left wing, and sniped it past Tanner Creel. Larry Smith, in terms of his percentage of clearing the puck out of his own zone and making safe defensive plays, nobody on the Mayhem does it better than he does. So that was a very rare play that we saw unfold. Nick Minerva finally out of the sin bin, and what's probably felt like an eternity for him is 2 goals were scored by Peoria in the time he was in the box as an offside whistle is called against the Peoria Rivermen. Folks, we'd like to invite you out to tomorrow night's game as well as Saturday night. The Mayhem are hosting their Superhero Night tomorrow on February 1st, the first day of the second month. Today, of course, the last day of the first month. We've got 2 series in which there's a 3-game homestand from the end of the month to the beginning of a following month. The same will happen in February and March. But and then, of course, Saturday night is our Camo Night presented by Tommy's Bakery and Cafe. Seamer enters the Peoria zone, waits for some help, and tries to filter one through. He gets it along for Urban, who will pop one into the corner on the far side. Sutliff for Seamer. Checked from behind by Rula Vicious. Seamer got rid of it, but to the wrong team. It's Peoria clearing it around the boards out to the near side. Gertler flings it up to the blue line, kept in the zone by Sutliff, but an offside whistle is blown. I suppose it probably just barely crossed the blue line when it was cleared out by Rula Vicious. So an offside whistle is the call. We're halfway through period 1. 2-0 Peoria is your score. Goals scored by Bo Walker and Alec Hageman through the first half of this first period. Saturday night, like we said, is Camo Night, folks, which means that the Mayhem will be wearing specialty jerseys brought to you by Tommy's Bakery Cafe. OT Sports did an outstanding job with the design and with the creation of those jerseys. They'll be sold off, as always, at a live auction in the Centreplex lobby following Saturday night's game. Saturday is also a family 4-pack night presented by Amici. To purchase a family 4-pack, you can call the Mayhem front office at 478-803-1592. That family 4-pack includes 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, and 4 bags of chips, as well as a free large pizza from Amici, provided that you purchase at least 4 drinks while at Amici, and the pizza cannot exceed $20, but still a great deal. And if you're interested in doing it, you can buy up to 2 family 4-packs at the same time. And there are only a certain amount of games where we can do that this season. February 2nd is one of them, so we encourage you, if you're interested, to call the Mayhem front office. Greenberg has it. He steps into the left circle. He wires it wide of the short side post, and it rattles out to the point now. Patterson skates down the boards, closed off by Vinny Caligiuri, who's played a lot against the Peoria Rivermen this season with the Quad City Storm. So he keeps a watchful eye on Patterson at the point now. 6 players go scrapping for possession. Hagman will rim one around out towards the left point. And it's fed down in behind the net now inside of the trapezoid. Yakura sends it up to the circle. Greenberg's shot is blocked. And failed clearing attempt nearly cost the Mayhem. Fortunately, the shot was blocked. Now Urban will take over with a little bit of time as the Rivermen change personnel. Bazovics on the left. He will spear it one ahead, hoping for the stick of Ronsberg. He got it, so no icing here. As Tallene attempts to keep it in the zone, it fails. It pops over his stick. The Rivs get a 2-on-1 down the left wing side. It's brought, and the net comes off, so we get a stoppage in play. That was Ben Blasco just racing down the left wing. And fortunately for the Mayhem, that net came off of its pegs, and they catch a bit of a break. Ben Blasco not really pleased with that. Blasco now leading the SPHL in scoring. He's got 39 points. He's on a 10-game point streak, over which time he's scored 5 goals and 12 assists. He's just been unstoppable lately, number 19 in white tonight. He will take this ensuing face-off, countered by Caleb Cameron, the RIT grad. Blasco gets set, as does Cameron. The puck drops. Neville from the right point will deliver it off to his right, and a shot gets blocked by Jarrett Cupp. Still, it's loose, however, in the Mayhem zone. Searching for it, Reynolds. He scoops it up with help from Love and will skate it out to the red line. Reynolds dumps it in. It's stopped by Storm Phaneuf, who did a little skate-to-stick play. Not sure you see a goaltender do that very often. Big open ice hit delivered by Caleb Cameron. But here come the Rivermen. Grinbergs with a wrist shot, stopped by Creel with the chest. Grinbergs goes down. The Mayhem are out to center, but Blasco is covering well for Ralph Grinbergs. And he will reorganize before dishing it off to his right for Nick Neville. Neville is smoked by Caleb Cameron. 2 huge hits by Cameron in the same shift. Those big body checks are brought to you by Harrison's Body Shop Collision and Repair. Cameron picks it up and sends it behind his own net for Nick Minerva. 7:47 to play here in period 1. The Rivermen leading the Mayhem by a 2-0 score, with goals coming off the sticks of Bo Walker and Alec Hagman in that order, both of which came on the 4-on-4. Tallene will dump it in from center ice. It's Storm Phaneuf rimming one around. It's collected behind the Peoria net by Ben Escroba, and the alternate captain will get rid of it to his right, flung out of there by Patterson. Bounces near Rulavicius, who will start over the Macon blue line and deliver off to his left. Yakura. His pass was intended for Patterson. It never reached him, and Sutliff will pop one over the defense. Charging in after it is Chamello, but out aggressively, Storm Fanuff cleared it out of harm's way. Good decision by Storm Fanuff there. That one paid off, and it's just been cleared off the glass down into into Macon territory, and Tanner Creel will just halt that rolling puck and take a defensive zone face-off. 6:58 to play here in period one. We've got a 2-0 score favoring Peoria, despite the Mayhem out shooting the Rivermen 6-5. Mayhem might be out shooting the Rivermen, but the majority of the face-offs, the offensive zone face-offs, have taken place in Macon's end. So that's a rarity, especially recently. The Mayhem have done an outstanding job of out shooting teams, with last Saturday night's game being the anomaly. But other than that, the Mayhem, for the most part, have really just been peppering opposing goaltenders with shots. It's fed by Hagman up to Greenberg, who centers it over wide open. Nice save by Creel, scurrying over from his left to his right. And he was just able to deny a brilliant point-blank opportunity for Stephen Gall. Loose puck right in front. Gall picks it up, drops it off. Creel comes up big with another save on Justin Greenberg. And Tanner Creel redeeming himself a little bit, but the Mayhem really in scramble mode over the last few shifts. 6.5 to play in the first period. It's a 2-0 lead for the Peoria Rivermen, who have dominated the scoring chances thus far in this game. Not the kind of start that the Mayhem were hoping to give for their goaltender, Tanner Creel, who's making his Mayhem debut tonight. Long-awaited debut at that. He's been here for a few weeks now, and has not had the opportunity to play until now against the best team in the league. Zach Urban watches as it's cycled around the boards by Bo Walker. His shot breaks his stick. And the Mayhem probably wishing that would have been his first shot, which ended up going into the back of the net. Zach Urban played 10 games for the Detroit Red Wings farm team, the Toledo Walleye, earlier this season. He just returned. His first game back with Macon was against the Huntsville Havoc last Saturday on January 26th. The Rivermen have just iced the puck. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe, and we've seen very few and far between icing calls so far in this game, especially against Peoria. But the Mayhem will get an offensive zone face-off, a rare one. We'll see if they can make Peoria pay for that decision. So we're approaching the three-quarter mark of period one. Caleb Cameron will step in for another offensive zone face-off. Presence of Jimmy Soper has really been missed. He was just recently placed on the 30-day IR. So without him, Cameron has had to reassume his role as a center on this team, which is what he played at the start of the season before Soper arrived from Newfoundland. Peoria is able to come up with the puck following a defensive zone face-off win. And it's wrapped around by Ben Escroba. Bounces over the stick of Sutliff. And it careens along for Jarrett Cupp, who slides it over to Love, Taylor Love. It is pass go off the linesman. Peoria on the counterattack. Left circle snapshot stopped by Creel, who covers up the rebound nicely. And if Peoria converts on that, that is a huge break for them, as the linesman essentially accidentally gave them a 2-on-2 counterattack. As Jake Trask skates back to the Mayhem bench. And there you see him returning, so hopefully he's okay. Lisa Connolly followed him and came back out empty-handed, meaning without Trask, and she's having some words with the Mayhem's top scorer right now. And since he returned to the first period, we assume that he'll be able to continue business as usual. So there's some uplifting news for you Mayhem fans tuned in out there. Here's Hagman firing a wrister, stopped by Creel, didn't have it in his glove, an awkward save. Fortunately for him, he got a quick whistle from the referee. The jitters maybe out there a little bit for Tanner Creel. Goaltenders, they come to know a lot of them over the years. There's something about getting your first of something under your belt before you can really fully be comfortable. The first save, for example, of a game makes a lot of goaltenders nervous. After they've made their first save, they're good to go for the rest of the game. So in this case, getting his first game under his belt, I'm sure, will rest a lot of nerves for Tanner Creel, the young netminder. The Mayhem are going to be penalized for a hit from behind. Caleb Cameron took a run over at Alec Hagman on the far half wall. And we're exactly 3/4 of the way through period one. Cameron's going to take a seat. He's really been throwing the body around a lot in this first period. 2 huge and clean open ice body checks, but that last one not clean, according at least to Nolan Bloyer, the referee. So cross-checking the call against the Mayhem's number 10. And for the first time tonight, the Rivermen will be going to a full power play. This Mayhem penalty kill brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning. Suppose you could count the abbreviated power play the Rivermen had as a power play. The Mayhem in that case are 1 for 1. So a lot of defensive-minded players out there for Leo Thomas and the Mayhem, killing off what they expect to be a lethal Peoria power play. You got a lot of talent out there, but they rank just 5th in the SPHL, which is lower than one would expect. So Seth Ronsberg is out there with Larry Smith, Nick Minerva, and Vinny Caligiuri. A couple of very hard-working forwards and very dependable defensemen. Well, back in his own zone with it now is Kevin Patterson. He will give it to Hagman. Hagman gives it off to his left, and it's dumped into the left corner now. Fed around to the right corner, Austin Veith has it. He will jam it back to Hagman, who spears into the slot. Patterson gets the return pass, tees up a slap shot and fires. I think it might have grazed Tanner Creel. Didn't get much of it, but it went wide. Patterson feeds it over to the top of the left circle. Grinberg's shot is stopped by Creel. And Grinbergs decides to stay out on the ice. He thought about going to the bench, thought better of it, as Hagman will drop it on back now for Kevin Patterson. Patterson, the Niagara University grad, number 7 for Jean-Guy Trudel and the Peoria Rivermen, will just take it calmly behind his own net before he begins the breakout. We're halfway through this Macon penalty kill, brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air. Dean Yakura has to drop it back. Grinberg's now in Patterson's place, or excuse me, that's Nick Neville. Neville will send it up off the boards, and Yakura will chip it into the right corner. Cup sends it off the back wall, and Zach Urban takes a check. He got rid of it, and now he cuts off a pass that was intended for Pius Rulavicius. It's cleared all the way down. Storm Phaneuf will just saucer it back out to center. Neville. Peoria enters the attacking zone down the left wing side, fighting for it. Rulavicius with John Seamer. We haven't seen Jake Trask back out there since he returned from the locker room. His Cup will just sprint down the ice and gain the blue line. Cup centers it, goes off the pads of Storm Phaneuf. It bounced away from John Seamer's stick. That's what the skating ability of Jarrett Cup can do. As Tanner Creel fights off a slap shot taken from the left circle. The Mayhem return to full strength as Caleb Cameron sends one ahead. John Seamer's got a step down the left wing side. Seamer is forced behind the net. He is taken off the puck by Austin Veith, stays on it. Chamello tees it up and fires, missed the net. It's whacked out of play. So the Mayhem, knowing that Peoria is an exceptional team defensively in their own zone, they don't blow coverage a whole lot, so they've tried to catch them off guard on odd man rushes a few times. John Seamer and Jarrett Cup both generating some decent scoring chances with their speed alone. But they've not been able to convert on anything yet. Storm Phaneuf seems to be in the zone so far. The neutral zone draw in front of the Peoria bench is won by Cameron, but Minerva couldn't get to the puck in time, so he's got to turn back and race back into his own zone. He's beaten to possession, however, by Austin Veith. Gertler sends it around to the Reynolds vicinity. He drops it off. Grinbergs fakes a wrist shot, pulls up into the high slot and fires. And went wide blocker side. Larry Smith up to Cameron from the logo. He will bounce it in. goes wide, glove side of Storm Phaneuf. Cameron picks it up, drops it to Urban, fires a one-timer. It gets blocked by the man right in front of him. Urban will swing it to Tallene on a 4-game goal-scoring streak. Reynolds, Urban hammers a one-time shot that was redirected just wide of the net by Cameron, standing right in front of Storm Phaneuf. Bazovic has it go off his skate. Urban is back near his own blue line. Zach Urban coughs up possession. Cameron twists it up the ice, and Alexander Tallene from the right circle snaps a shot that's stopped by Storm Phaneuf. Tallene has been unstoppable of late. He's been on a huge goal-scoring tear, and has scored in that 4-game goal-scoring streak that he's currently on right now. He's struck 7 times. 2 weeks ago was named the SPHL Warrior Hockey Player of the Week for his efforts with a 5-goal weekend up in Evansville, including a hat trick and a game winner. Right point shot by Taylor Love is blocked. The Rivermen have cleared it out to center. Alec Hagman steps in across the blue line. Will leave it off to his left, and the return pass never quite got filtered through Taylor Love. Up to the right point, Neville with a long shot that went wide of the blocker side post again of Tanner Creel. The Rivermen really trying to pick the blocker side of Creel apart from the half wall, or from the points rather, on the right side of the ice. Here comes Hagman trying to squeeze past Larry Smith. He can't quite do it. Hagman with a good pass into the left circle. The wrist shot comes wide of the net, and Patterson will step in, pinching all the way behind the goal. Kevin Patterson sends it back in the direction from which he skated with it. Greenberg goes down to from his elbows. He gets back up onto his skates after an awkward-looking tumble. 44 seconds remain in the period. The Mayhem trail 2-0. Greenberg spins with it. Sends it behind the net. Jarrett Cupp is hit hard into the end boards near the goalkeeper's box. Or, excuse me, the goal judge's box. Half minute remains here in period 1. Jarrett Cupp spins it out to Ronsberg near the Coca-Cola ice logo. Ronsberg flips it into the left corner in the Peoria zone. 20 seconds. Nice forecheck by Seamer. He steals the puck. Tallene hits the elbow of the net. Rebound for Sutliff, whose shot is denied by Storm Phaneuf. Close call for the Mayhem. Seamer centers, hoping for Tallene. His shot it wide again. And so ends period 1. Close call for the Mayhem there. John Seamer forcing the issue. Great takeaway behind the Rivermen net, and Peoria catching a huge break as Alexander Tallene came inches away from extending his goal-scoring streak to 5. As the one-timer he fired hit the elbow, the top right elbow of the net, and stayed out. So a brilliant play by Seamer, a hammering shot by Tallene. Doesn't get rewarded. He won't even get credit with a shot on goal. Rivermen catch an enormous break and enter the first intermission with a 2-0 lead. Shots on goal favoring the Rivermen, 11-9 through the first 20 minutes of play. 2-0 doesn't quite do it justice. It was a closely contested first period. Peoria certainly had the edge, but well, the score could very easily be 1-1 right now. The goal that was scored by Bo Walker was an absolute howitzer, not to discredit him in the slightest, but that's not one you'd expect Macon goaltenders to allow very often. The Mayhem goaltending has been stellar this season, and a goal like that, sort of unscreened, just a sheer overpowering, those do happen sometimes, and that's really just what happened. Sometimes you can't blame anyone, put the fault on anyone's shoulders and find a scapegoat. You just have to, every once in a while, you just have to tip your cap to your opponents and say that was one heck of a shot, which it was, from Bo Walker. Bo Walker, a former Corpus Christi Ice Ray, North American Hockey League team that I was broadcasting with last season. And then the next goal, coming off the stick of Alec Hagman, was an uncharacteristic turnover by Larry Smith, who's been really the best in the business in terms of making crisp passes from his own zone and making safe plays. He's a very defensively minded player, and he's been excellent at keeping the puck out of his own net. He's been one of the biggest reasons that the Mayhem have been so great defensively this season. He has been one of the biggest factors for that low goals against per game number. And just made an errant pass that was intercepted in the neutral zone. He wasn't fast enough getting back, and Alec Hagman was the player who took it away, and that's not somebody you want to leave on a breakaway. Hagman this season ranking 4th in points in the SPHL, 2nd on Peoria behind only Ben Blasco. He's got 33 points through 32 games, does Alec Hagman. He's also 2nd in the league in penalty minutes with 88 on the campaign, so he's been all over the score sheet all season long. So we hope you enjoyed that first period, folks, in spite of the way it turned out. 2-0 Peoria is the score. The Rivermen leading the Mayhem 11-9 in shots on goal as well. For those of you who did not hear the interview with Jarrett Cupp earlier this week, he and I were guests on the Creek FM. That was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed shooting that, so I'll play back that interview with host Tony Doolin, guests Jarrett Cupp, and myself. That and more is coming your way next. Keep it right here, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
Crazy Creekside Mornings, Tony, Charles, David. 100.9 The Creek Row Music Row Radio, the Cactus Blossoms. That is brand new music. Please don't call me. Crazy Creekside Mornings, Tony, Charles, David. Yes, I am recording Alex Van Coito. Telling me how to do my gig all morning, man. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm a little bit better that you're recording this time.
I'm recording. I'm not going to email the file to you, though.
Oh.
You're not going to get it, but I am recording there for posterity. Macon Mayhem, a big week this week, man. 3 home games. Yeah. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night.
Yes, sir.
Thursday night is college night. Friday night, superhero night. And one of the big ones, Saturday night, is camo night. You guys are doing a special Mossy jerseys. We're going to have a jersey auction. Now, being camouflaged jerseys, does it make the players harder to see on the ice? Because they're camouflaged.
See, that's a good question. I don't know if we're getting like Arctic camo. That would be good.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. That would make a lot of sense. So, I don't know if it's too...
All right, well, welcome back, folks. Well, sorry for that abrupt interruption for whatever reason. So I used my phone to play back these recordings, and for some reason my phone just turned off. It's fine on battery, but just died sporadically. So we're going to restart that, and we'll get that interview played back momentarily here. In the meantime, we won't leave you hanging. We'll break down that first period for you in greater detail. So again, it's the first time the Mayhem are playing the Peoria Rivermen this season. And you know what, folks? My phone just dropped from 50-something% down to dead. So I'm going to have to make a run back to the office to find a charger so we can plug it in and get these intermission interviews playing again. So in the meantime, please just keep tight. We'll be back before too long, folks.
Blossoms. That is brand new music. Please don't call me crazy. Creekside Mornings, Tony, Charles, David. Yes, I am recording Alex Van Coito. Telling me how to do my gig all morning, man. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm a little bit better that you're recording this time.
I'm recording. I'm not going to email the file to you, though.
Oh,
You're not going to get it, but I am
maybe
recording
we'll
it for posterity.
He'll mail it to you.
Macon Mayhem, a big week this week, man. 3 home games.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night.
Yes, sir.
Thursday night is college night. Friday night, superhero night. And one of the big ones, Saturday night is camo night. You guys are doing a special Mossy Oak jerseys. They're going to have a jersey auction. Now, being camouflage jerseys, does it make the players harder to see on the ice? Because they're camouflaged.
I don't see. That's a good question. I don't know if we're getting like Arctic camo. That would be good.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. That would make a lot of sense. So I don't know if it's too late to put in that request. It probably is.
I would say, yeah.
Considering it's Saturday, probably. But you guys are doing a jersey auction after the game on Saturday night, which is always huge. People love collecting those one-off jerseys for the Macon Mayhem.
Yeah. Well, you were there this past weekend. You saw how many Simpsons or 90s themed jerseys there were in the audience.
They were definitely walking through the crowd. People were on. Yeah.
David,
Those were really good.
David was the in-game host Friday night. Well, 4-1 on Friday night against Huntsville. It was a home weekend. You guys played a home game on Friday. Went to Huntsville on Saturday. That was a shootout. That was a high-scoring game, 5-4.
It was. Yeah.
Macon split the home with Huntsville. But you brought in one of the Mayhem players, Jarrett Cupp. Good morning, Jared. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well.
So tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from, Jared?
So I grew up 2 hours north of Toronto, back up north in Canada. This is my first year with the Mayhem. I'm excited to be here this morning. I'm just looking forward to what's in the future.
When did you start playing hockey?
So I think I started when about 3 or 4. Loved it ever since. Actually, probably hated it my first year. My dad told me that I quit because I couldn't skate, but
You obviously got over that.
Who can skate when they first try, right?
Exactly. So you played through high school? Did you play college hockey?
Yeah,
Did you go straight semi-pro?
I've played my entire life. Went through college, played college just south of Boston. So I went there for 4 years, and then last year, Caleb Cameron, number 10 on Macon with us. He got me out here for a couple of weeks, and then this year, since I was done college and I was looking for a place to play, now I'm here.
Very nice. You enjoying Macon so far?
Yeah, love it. It's a lot of fun. It's a good community, and the fans are great.
Yeah, the fans are great. I was talking to Alex off here. Friday night, we were sitting in front of a family. They drive 80 miles from Pitts, Georgia, to come up and check out the Mayhem home games. And they have a little girl, and she was so sweet. She was cute as a button, looked like she was maybe 7 years old. She was insane. She was a crazy hockey fan, knew all you guys, was screaming out names. She was having a blast.
Yeah.
And that's the point that I want to stress is that these Mayhem games, if you've not been to one, they are great family entertainment. You can really have a great time at these Mayhem games. Good for kids, and the players really get into the support from the kids, too. That's got to be a great part of it.
Yeah, it's always nice to get the kids out, especially down here where hockey's not as big as the other sports. It's always good to grow the sport, and the more fans that we can have, the better.
Absolutely, and you don't have to understand the nuances of the rules of hockey to enjoy a hockey game. And I was talking about that because you're a defenseman. Yet over the course of the last few games, you've been on a scoring tear. So how does that happen as a defenseman that you're scoring so many goals on offense?
It's a little bit of puck luck and a little bit of just being in the right place at the right time. And
I'm going to ding the bell for puck luck. I'm going to steal that from you.
I like that.
But as a hockey player, you have to be able to do dual duty. Even if you're a defenseman, you have to be able to play offense too because those situations arise.
Yeah, definitely. No matter what position you play, it's huge to be able to play both ends of the rink. And I've just been fortunate enough to contribute offensively lately. And we need scoring and defensive from everybody.
All right. Well, Jared, thank you for coming on the show this morning. Great to meet you. It's always good to put a face with a name on the back of the jersey.
And I got to
from the
say,
team.
I think his first goal with the Mayhem was a few weeks ago. It was at home against Birmingham, I want to say, and it was one of the best goals we've scored all season. It was just a rocket from the blue line, probably a 55-footer. It was
Wow.
far down.
I appreciate it.
Nice job. Alex, let's talk about playoffs, because even though the end of the season is not until the end of March, got to start thinking about that at this point in the season. Where do the Mayhem stand right now?
Well, right now we're a point ahead of Birmingham, so it's a tight race. We've been kind of neck and neck with them all season. We got the split with Huntsville, so that was pretty good for us. They were on a 5-game winning streak when they came into our building for the home and home series. So
we shut that down real quick Friday night.
yeah, and then we were able to compete with them really close on our home turf on Saturday, which was important. It was a 5-4 decision, so it was close.
Who's leading the league right now?
Right now, Peoria, who's coming into our building next weekend.
3 games. So this is going to be a big weekend.
Yeah. They've got a huge point lead on everyone else right now in the standings, and some people have sort of discredited the run that they're on because they've played some weaker opponents in their schedule than we have, but you still have to look at them as a really dangerous team, and you have to credit what they've been able to do this year. So
This weekend, a great opportunity for the Mayhem to edge up on Peoria in the standings, which is important when you choose your opponents for the playoffs.
that's right. Yeah, we're doing the challenge round again this year. So the top seed chooses the 8th seed who they want to face in the first round, and then the second seed, if we were to be the second seed, for example, we would choose the 7th or the next best or next worst, I guess.
All right, so a very important home game stand. Get out and support the Mayhem Thursday night. Anthony will be your in-game host. Friday night's David.
That's right. And I got to ask, is Matt going to be back this week? Is he going to return from the upside down?
Where was Mac Friday?
He was stuck in the upside down.
He was lost, yeah. He wasn't here. We got him out of the upside down.
Good.
Oh, good.
He and Barb were...
Eating Eggos.
I'm not going to get into details on how we found him, but we got him out of the
back. You had to go in with me, Alex. You had to go in the upside down and running that.
Because you guys noticed, Colin had to go up and do push-ups. in Mac's absence, Colin dropped down and did a few push-ups. It was sweet.
And I will point out during the Kroger Chuck-a-Puck, you've always got that one little tiny kid out there who does push-ups and he stands up and raises his arms like a crowd will applaud.
Yeah, you guys are back in the dressing room. This kid... he draws a lot of attention.
Oh, yeah.
The crowd standing ovation, and everyone else is like, dude, pick up some more pots. And he's just like, reveling in it.
Worship me! Worship me! And Saturday night, I'll be the in-game host.
Oh, great.
So we'll see you guys this weekend.
All right.
Macon, get those tickets for the 3-game run against Peoria this weekend. It's 100.9 The Creek, also Jamestown Reliable.
All right, welcome back, folks. Well, we apologize for that delay. We hope you enjoyed that Creek interview with myself, Jarrett Cupp, Tony Doolin, David Higdon were the hosts. That was a fun time on Monday morning. Jarrett Cupp joining me at 8:30 a.m. on that on 100.9 The Creek. We had a lot of fun enjoying that, and I appreciate his willingness to help out. We're back underway. Perfect timing here, really. Period 2 is underway. The first time this season, the Mayhem squaring off against the Peoria Rivermen, who currently have a 2-0 advantage. As a long point shot taken by Kristaps Bazovic is cradled by Storm Phaneuf. He was perfect through period 1. He stopped all 9 making shots. One shot he did not stop, however, was a howitzer from Alexander Tallinn in the closing seconds just before time had expired. He rifled a one-timer off of the right elbow of the net. John Seamer fed him the pass after taking the puck away, forcing a turnover inside of the trapezoid behind Storm Phaneuf. But he was saved by his best friends, the crossbar and the right post. 2 of his 3 best friends. The left post is a close third. Gertler trying to clear the puck past Caleb Cameron. He eventually succeeds. Hagman feathers it further, and now it's chased down by Greenberg. Taken away by Reynolds, and in the neutral zone he will spring Cameron on his way down the left side. Reynolds dumps it behind Phanuff's net. He will rattle it around. Minerva kept it in the zone, but it's taken away by Greenberg. Had a miscommunication with Gertler, and we get a whistle for icing called against the Rivermen. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. The Rivermen cannot change personnel. The Mayhem can, but they leave the same five skaters out there nevertheless. Cameron with Tallene and Reynolds, Larry Smith and Nick Minerva. An aggressive setup for Leo Thomas and the Mayhem in this offensive zone draw. Tallene's in the shooting hole. Not sure you could rather handpick anyone else to be in that position right now with the way that Tallene's been putting the puck in the net recently. But Cameron's been booted out of the circle. Reynolds will take the faceoff in his stead. But Greenberg's able to win it defensively for the Rivermen. Cleared off the boards, out to Larry Smith in front of the benches. Rolling puck is settled by Reynolds, who jumps in and fires from the right circle. Snagged by Storm Phanuff. He will take a whistle. Storm Phanuff began the season with the ECHL's Rapid City Rush. The new team of Brandon Fade, former Mayhem defenseman who started the season here in Macon, did Brandon Fade. Phanuff went 1-3-0 in 5 outings before being waived on December 8th. Joined Peoria and has been doing pretty well ever since. He's yet to lose a game in regulation this season with an 8-0-1 record. Here's Mike Cimello from the right corner. He will spin it past Sutliff. Love rattles it wide of the net and goes off the backboard's glass. Jarrett Cup pinches all the way down the half wall. It's redirected by Rula Vicious past Taylor Love. Now Lithuanian will take Love into the corner on the near side of the ice. We get a whistle and a stoppage. If I'm not mistaken, one of those stanchions may have came loose. The hit was not a penalty. There was nothing malicious or illegal about it from what I saw. So there might have been some issue with the boards or with the partitions. The draw taking place now to Creel's right. Tanner Creel has made 9 of a possible 11 saves so far in his Mayhem debut. It's brought down the left wing side, now carried behind the net and whacked out to the middle by Aaron Atwell. Cleared from a backhanded spinorama pass made by Caligiuri, and Tallene will fling it in from the neutral zone just wide of the blocker post. Urban with a pinch. Caligiuri covering ground for him nicely, but he can't do much more after that. And the transition, the shot never really came from Bo Walker. He gets a second chance, turns and fires. And Tallene lost his stick. It flew right out of his hands. He's got to go skate over and pick it up. Right point shot blocked by Bazovics. And the Mayhem going back to the PK. They're 2 for 2 so far tonight on the J&J's Heating and Air penalty kill. But they'll have to become 3 for 3 lest their deficit grow larger. Penalty's going to be against Zach Urban. Urban third on the Mayhem in penalty minutes this season with 45 on the campaign, third behind only Tallene and Minerva. He will take a seat. Slashing is the call against Urban, and the Mayhem without one of their best defensemen. Going to have to kill off another Peoria power play. Right point, it's Nick Neville. He's now setting up shop at the apex of the umbrella. We'll feed it over to his left for Ben Blasco. Blasco with the circle-to-circle pass. Greenberg fed it to the side of the net. Gets it right back from the goal line. And we'll slide it up to the blue line now. Neville dishes for Blasco near the Ortho Georgia Ice logo. Greenberg back to Neville with a one-time blast, and a right pad save is made by Tanner Creel. Rimmed around to the far half boards, and Greenberg keeps it in the zone. Up to the blue line for Nick Neville. Neville delays. Greenberg, outer hash marks, far circle. Neville in the deep slot straight away. Takes a few strides over to his right and finds an open Blasco on his left. Ben Blasco, the SPHL's top scorer this season with 39 points. Right circle, fed towards the side of the net. Pius Rulavicius will slide it back up to the blue line. Here's a slap shot redirected over top of the goal by Greenberg, who is in the area. He now scoops it up in the deep slot and dishes to Blasco. Nice move to the backhand. His shot stopped by Creel. Loose puck right in front of the blue paint and cleared out of harm's way, but kept in the zone. It's Nick Neville again. Steps into the deep slot near the blue line. Here's a backhand shot by Rulavicius, stopped by Creel from point-blank range. Neville again from the blue line, setting things up. Blasco slides it into the slot. One-timer is denied by Creel. Dinya Kura just tapped it on net. The Mayhem have not cleared this puck out since the penalty kill began. Here's a long wrister. Blocker saved by Creel. He was able to deny Nick Neville, who did an excellent job getting that shot through traffic. Still it stays in the zone. The Mayhem penalty killers are exhausted. Nick Neville at the blue line again. Quarterback this power play since the beginning of it. It's loose behind the cage. The Mayhem players can barely skate. Minerva's brought down away from the puck, but the Rivermen get away with it. No penalty. Greenberg fires, goes over the crossbar. Time winds down on the Mayhem penalty kill, and they have just improved to 3 for 3. Urban springs Ronsberg, who's at the end of a long PK. He fires. He missed the right post. Wouldn't that have been something? Doing 2 minutes worth of dirty work in his own zone and skating right back down the other into the other zone and sniping one past Storm Phaneuf. Unfortunately, he just missed the right post by a few inches. The Rivermen have just cleared the puck. Will they win this foot race? Love, it looks like, will beat out the opposition. Icing is the call against the Rivermen. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Fortunately for the Mayhem, it was just 7 seconds shy of when the first media timeout would have been. So had that icing come 7 seconds later, the Rivermen would have been able to catch a breather. Instead, they're stuck out there with some tired bodies and the bench farthest away from their zone, the one that they need to get to. The Mayhem improving to 3 for 3 on the J&J's heating and air conditioning penalty kill, and doing so while in the zone, the defensive zone, for the entirety of that 2-minute power play. So Gall will feed it up to Blasco. Ben Blasco going wide on Taylor Love, who pickpockets him. John Seamer lobs it off of the glass. Ben Blasco having just recently returned from an ECHL loan to the Orlando Solar Bears, the Tampa Bay Lightning's farm team. Whacked into the left corner, and now Taylor Love will turn back to get it. The ex-Carolina Thunderbird shovels it off the boards, hoping for Derek Sutliff. Never got to him. He was intercepted by Alec Hageman. He's got the most recent goal in this game, the Peoria captain. Gertler out of Patterson. In over the blue line, Patterson delays. Hageman circles into the deep slot with it. Hageman fires a wrist shot, just missed the left post. And that was a heck of a wrister from Alec Hageman. Atwell will send it to the opposite corner. Now on the near side it goes. John Seamer trying to lift the stick of Greenberg. He takes him down away from the play after Greenberg had just gotten rid of it. Tallene has it on the right half wall and will ricochet it out to center. Sutliff pursuing the puck, but he's pretty tired at the end of a long shift. Greenberg sends it over. Here's a shot stopped by Creel. Excellent lateral save by the Macon netminder, making his Mayhem debut and doing so in style. Love diagonally passes it off the boards to the other number 3, Atwell. Feeds it back all the way down the ice. No icing here as Urban has a bit of trouble with it. Cup will backhand it up towards Tallene, who's been out there a long time. His pass is outside of the reach of Caleb Cameron. Again, it's redirected into Macon territory. Creel will just squat on it and take a whistle. Boy, Creel's been outstanding, folks, since those 2 goals were scored back in the first period. The goal scored by Bo Walker, which I'm just going to crack it up to be an incredible shot by Bo Walker. Not going to blame Creel for it per se. I'm sure he'd like to have it back, but sometimes, like I said earlier, you just have to tip your cap, and that's what I'll do for Bo Walker. And then Alec Hageman scoring on the breakaway. Since then, Creel's been superb in his Mayhem debut, and this game certainly could have been out of hand by now, but the Mayhem are still in it. Unfortunately, the ice has been tilted in Peoria's favor for the majority of this game so far. Mayhem have had a few chances. Converting on those chances is going to be key because they will not come very often. Peoria, the best defensive team in the entire SPHL. Those bragging rights did belong to the Mayhem for a good chunk of the season, but no longer. The Mayhem are now second to Peoria in terms of goals allowed per game. The Rivermen average just 2.09 goals against per game, which is best in the SPHL. The Mayhem behind them with a 2.42 goals against per game. Recently, the Mayhem's tilts have been a lot more high scoring. Their last 4 games, they had 5 in Evansville, 6 in Evansville, 4 against Huntsville, and then 4 in Huntsville. Defensive zone face-off to the left of Tanner Creel. Caleb Cameron steps in to take the draw. He's countered by Dean Yakura, who's able to win it scrappily. Bazovic tries to flip it out. He does. It goes all the way down. Icing will be the call against Macon. That icing call is brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. The clock continues running despite the icing call against Macon for an extra 7 seconds. The ensuing draw will take place to the left of Tanner Creel. Ben Blasco this time against Cameron. Peoria ends up with possession after an offensive zone draw another time. Sent around the end boards, and Bazovic gives a shove to Blasco, dispossesses him of it, and clears it out to the red line. His fellow Latvian former teammate Ralph Grinbergs will shoot it back in. Bazovic has it now, and he spins it now to Zach Urban. The ex-Toledo Walleye will take a spill in front of his own net. No penalty called against Peoria. The Mayhem trying to catch them in the midst of a partial change here as Chimello reverses it now to Reynolds. His centering attempt went off the side of the net. Cleared off the stanchions, and Peoria's gotten it out to neutral territory. Bo Walker leaves it back for Kevin Patterson. Now it's fired out by Ben Escriba all the way down, icing the call against the Rivermen. Excuse me, no icing was called and must have redirected. So play resumes here, and Creel will find Larry Smith. Smith's pass just outside of the reach of Ronsberg. Escriba chips it into Macon territory. Tanner Creel will reverse it. Grinbergs checks Minerva. Loose puck collected by Hagman, who wires it well wide of the net, all the way out into the corner. It careens, and now it's fed back into that corner by Nick Neville. Rivermen trying to build upon their substantial lead. They're up 2-0, both of which were scored within 46 seconds of each other. Back at 8:29 of the first period. Since then, no team has found the back of the net. Storm Phaneuf and Tanner Creel have both been strong in goal tonight. Larry Smith up to Alexander Tallien. Tallien down the right half boards will fire, stopped by Phaneuf, and he had to look behind him a little bit. Tallien's got such a heavy, hard shot, and goaltenders can never be too sure that they stop him. And looked as though that puck might have squeaked through the paraphernalia of Storm Phaneuf. Fortunately for him, he was able to squeeze his arm shut up against his the side of his body, make the save. And the birthday boy, John Seymour, will go to work on an offensive zone draw. We still have not seen Jake Trask return to action. We saw him return to the bench, but he's not gone back onto the ice. He is still on the bench right now, supporting his team, probably assuming a coaching role, one would think. This is Jake Trask's 4th season in Macon after all, and the players here certainly respect what he has to say and his opinions. And there's no doubt in my mind that if he were to assume a coaching role back there, if he can't play, that they would, that his words would carry great significance. Another false start on the face-off. Finally, the puck drops. Kevin Patterson. And Chimello, in front of his own bench, emerges with it. He feeds it up to Sutliff. Sutliff trying to center, hoping for Seymour. Didn't work out. The puck's been cleared. Sutliff to retreat it now in his own zone to Taylor Love. Love sends it off of the glass. Seymour pries it free, and Taylor Love just twists it all the way down. Will this be an icing call? It should be, and it will be. We're nearly halfway through regulation time. 10:37 to go in the second period. It's still 2-0 Peoria, as it has been since 8:29 into the contest. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Ben Blasco with an offensive zone face-off win, and Escriba will drop it to the left point for a slap shot taken by Bo Walker. It ricocheted off a Macon skate. Jarrett Cup left it to Seamer, who whacks it up to Chamello. The Mayhem get a 2-on-2, possibly a 3-on-2 if Cup hurries. And Sutliff trying to dangle his way down the left side. And he is defended very well on that rush by Ben Escriba, the alternate captain. Seamer trying to lift the stick of Escriba behind the Rivermen net. The two of them with one last little shove. That was Blasco, rather. Play continues as Bazovic gloves it out of midair. Then slides it just outside of the reach of Reynolds. This will be another icing called against Macon. That's a frustrating call against Kristaps Bazovic. Unfortunately, however, for the Mayhem, they've gotten a friendly media timeout. That's really perfect timing for them. They had just iced the puck, and they're going to get a chance to catch their breath on the Macon bench. So we're going to take a brief pause here on College Night, presented by GMC Warner Robins and Ann Parman Law Firm. When we come back, we'll continue second period action here, as now we're now halfway through regulation time here at the Mac Shack. We'll be right back, folks.
This season, the Mayhem are offering a great group package. Whether you're a school, a church, a company, or just a group of friends, give the Mayhem office a call and we'll set you up with an incredible group deal. From $13 tickets to free team hats to a unique experience upgrade of your choosing, the Mayhem have got you and your group covered. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to purchase your group tickets to a Mayhem game today.
So we've got no Marriott out-of-town scoreboard update for you because there are no games happening out of town tonight. It's just the Mayhem and the Peoria Rivermen. For the first time this season. It's been a weird one for several reasons. There was the late puck drop, obviously, because of the delay. There was my phone dying just sporadically and randomly. It's the first game of a 3-game series, and it's the first game between the Mayhem and the Rivermen here tonight. It's been bit of an unorthodox game here this evening. From the right point, it's twisted just wide of the net there by Alec Hagman. Still has the most recent goal in this game at 8:29 of period 1. Hagman twists with it and leaves it for Atwell. Gets it right back from him at the blue line. Hagman's shot is fought off by Creel. Picked up by Reynolds. Angled off the boards past Urban. Into the bench, I believe, in the Macon bench. And that flying puck is brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. Kevin Patterson wasn't even sure where that was. The neutral zone draw will take place right in front of the Macon bench. It's won by Peoria and fed back to Ralph's Grinbergs. Grinbergs has just sent it down the length. No icing because it redirected off of a stick. And Ronsberg will take over now from his own goal line. Takes a hit from Pius Rulavicius. Pius has it right back, and he will take a look. Sends it on net from a tough angle, easily stopped by Tanner Creel. The rebound bounces out to the near corner now, and it's fed up into the circle for the shot by Rulavicius, which was blocked, and here comes Reynolds. Reynolds has got some help coming from Ronsberg. Speared off of Reynolds' stick, however, back out to Minerva at center ice. Rulavicius skates to the Rivermen bench to complete a line change as the Mayhem have just iced the puck yet again. An icing call brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Pius Rulavicius, of Lithuanian descent, in his second year pro, though born in Warrenville, Michigan. Played 23 games this season for the Evansville Thunderbolts and last season with the Mississippi River Kings all season. Former teammate of Kristaps Bazovic and of Ralph Grinbergs. Long point shot taken there by Ben Escriba, went off of a Macon stick. Escriba's got it now at the Macon logo. Bo Walker feeds it back to Kevin Patterson. Nice crisp touch pass. Blasco is sprung behind the defense to the forehand, tucks it in. Wide open net. And Ben Blasco has just built upon his now 11-game point scoring streak. Able to deke Tanner Creel well out of position. Blasco, with his league-leading 40th point of the season and his 14th goal, has just given the Rivermen a 3-0 lead. Here's Jarrett Cup. Taylor Love. Hageman marches back into the Macon zone. Caligiuri. Atwell. Couldn't clear it past Jarrett Cup, whose long backhander never reached the net. Seamer sends it off the side of the net. It's jostled forward there and taken away by Gertler, and cleared all the way down. This should be an icing call against Peoria, and it will be. Brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Boy, that last play by the Rivermen. Kevin Patterson, Bo Walker, each making brilliant passes. Bo Walker's especially, just a touch pass. He knew exactly where Blasco was, and where he was right between the Mayhem defense. He was able to pick up speed and accelerate quickly enough through the offensive zone to get an uncontested shot against Tanner Creel. He was able to tuck it into a wide open net, build upon Peoria's lead. A brilliant three-way passing play by the Rivermen. And Caleb Cameron gets it down to Mike Chimello. Cameron keeps on helping him out, stays with it, and feeds it up to the blue line. Zach Urban, point to point. Kristaps Bazovic angles it off the backboards. Chimello turning the corner. Sutliff with a one-timer. Pops into the right corner. Didn't get much on the shot. And it's rimmed around out to the far boards. Pinballs awkwardly off a stanchion. Chimello rips a shot, missed the left post. Some helter-skelter in the Peoria zone here as Storm Phaneuf fights off a shot with his mask, and Urban will settle things down and just drive it into the adjacent corner. And Chimello scraps for possession. Caleb Cameron with Chimello in the near corner, fighting away for it. Cameron ends up with it. The Mayhem really putting the Rivermen on their heels a little bit on this shift. The Rivs have just cleared it all the way down, but this will be icing, and they will not be allowed to change personnel. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. 6:32 to play in the second period. 3-0 Macon is your score. 3-0 Peoria is your score. The Mayhem trying to get on the board here with an offensive zone faceoff following a Peoria icing. This last surge has been their best offensive zone surge of the period so far, possibly the entire game. And the Rivermen have a lot of tired skaters out there. We'll see if the Mayhem can take advantage. Smith tees up a one-timer and fires, and it's blocked by Gertler. The Rivermen will now change personnel after that flying puck, brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. Gertler really making a selfless play to get himself in the way of that Larry Smith one-timer. Now, Larry Smith, you wouldn't necessarily think it based on his play style, but he's a pretty tough player. He's gotten into some fights over his career at the junior level and early on in his playing career. And he can really hammer shots too, but he's certainly a defense-first kind of blue liner. Nick Minerva is shouldered off the puck. He continues fighting for it with Pius Rulavicius. Smith lifts his stick. Minerva, Rulavicius fighting for possession inside of the trapezoid behind Creel. Reynolds. Seamer charges after it. He catches up to it before Kevin Patterson rather. Been cleared off a couple of stanchions. It bounces back out into neutral territory. The Rivermen gaining the Macon line now. Right side, snapshot taken by Stephen Gall, deflects out of play. That flying puck is brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. 5:39 to play in the second period. 3-0 Rivermen is your score. That last goal scored by Ben Blasco, the only goal of the second period so far. Blasco has just been on a ridiculous tear. In his last 10 games coming into this tilt, he has scored a point in each one of them, including 5 goals and 12 assists. And of course does not include the brief stint in which he was with the Orlando Solar Bears of the ECHL. Jarrett Cup. Derek Sutliff. Cup again. Now Taylor Love and the good rink-wide pass. Excellent breakout by the Mayhem, and Sutliff will fly down the left wing side to try to generate some offense here for the Mayhem, which they desperately need. It was just redirected wide by Caligiuri, and the Rivermen will race it back down the other way. It's Bo Walker. Nice little dipsy doodle down the boards, and he will send it into the corner. Puck redirects into the slot. Taylor Love has his pocket picked, and it's skated out into neutral territory by Walker. Redirected into the Macon zone by Blasco. Love to Sutliff. The Mayhem are on a delayed offside. The linesman letting them know. And the whistle blows. The faceoff will return into the neutral zone as we get a media timeout stopping play. 4:50 to go here in period 2. 3-0 Peoria is your score. We'll be right back, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network.
Partial season ticket plans are still available. With the Mayhem's home season halfway through, you can still purchase the quarter season plan or the half season plan through our website for as low as $105. With VIP parking, 10% off merchandise, access to event pre-sales, and more, the benefits of becoming a partial season ticket holder are endless. Visit the Tickets tab on our website, maconmayhem.com, for more information. Need to raise some money for your organization? Contact the Mayhem front office and we'll be happy to partner up with your group to help you fundraise for a cause. You buy tickets from us at $10, you sell them for $15, and then you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whatever cause you like. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to set up a fundraiser for your organization today.
So just under 5 minutes remain in this game. The Mayhem in some dire straits now. Have got to really dig in and get some work done. They trail 3-0 to the league-leading Peoria Rivermen, who have built themselves a 10-point edge on every team in the league. 10-point-plus edge in the SPHL standings. They seem to be penciled in for that top spot. But the season is still young yet. Plenty of games left to be played. 25 of them to be exact for the Mayhem if you count this one. And Cameron has some difficulty entering the Peoria zone. Rulovicius will spirit one up into the left corner of the ice. And Gall sends it down into the left corner. I've had issues with math today, folks, all day. It's actually 23 games that the Mayhem have left on their regular season schedule, if you include this one, not 25. Zach Urban across the blue line. Had his shot blocked by Grinberg's stick. Cameron. Peoria scrambling to complete a fire wagon line change as Cameron, with his head up, makes the pass up to Sutliff. Got a touch pass for Chimello. It was unbeknownst to him. It went between his skates. Now it's brought down the right wing side by Greenberg, who fired it through the crease. Sutliff on his off wing, picking up possession, gaining some speed as he enters the Peoria blue line. He will twist it into an area, hoping for Cameron to get there first. He could not. The Rivermen have cleared it out to the blue line. The red line, rather, I should say. And Minerva will flip it in from center ice. Storm Phaneuf easily able to make the save. To my knowledge, at least, Storm Phaneuf has no relation to Dion Phaneuf, the former Toronto Maple Leafs captain and current Ottawa Senators assistant captain. Played a lot of junior hockey in the QMJHL, which is considered major junior. Voided his college eligibility. Played for the Cowichan Valley Capitals in the BCHL as well before going pro, getting his start in the Federal Hockey League with the Danville Dashers. Four players battle for possession behind Phaneuf's goal. 3 minutes remain here in period 2. The Mayhem trailing the Rivermen 3-0. Seamer's really having a hard time moving it. He was pinned all the while by defenseman Ben Escriba. The Rivermen again have just iced the puck. Brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Seamer was looking at Nolan Bloyer, asking why there wasn't a penalty called against Ben Escriba, who appeared to be holding him when Seamer was working to spring that puck loose in behind the Peoria goal line. The Rivermen have won 9 of their last 10 games, taking a point in all of them. Although only 2 of those games were against teams with winning records. Huge Harrison's body shop collision in the far half wall, delivered by John Seamer. Tallene gets the pass and fires. He missed over the crossbar. Ronsberg dropped it back to the line. Smith with a long shot, blocked. Loose puck, turnaround shot by Tallene is stopped by Phaneuf, who scrambles, and the whistle blows even though the puck was loose. Some fans here not happy with that decision. Storm Phaneuf coming up huge again, keeping his clean sheet intact. A lot of folks have discredited the Rivermen's excellent start to their season, which they're now 26-3-4, which is simply remarkable. And I don't care who they're playing. Yes, some of the critiques may be valid. The Rivermen have had a pretty easy schedule compared to pretty much everyone else in the league. They face the Evansville Thunderbolts and the Quad City Storm more than anybody. They're right in between those two teams. The Quad City Storm, obviously an expansion team, and the Evansville Thunderbolts, well, they're just having a season to forget about right now. So those critiques, yes, are valid that they've not faced as challenging of opponents as some other teams in the SPHL. But when you have a record like that, it doesn't matter who you're facing. That's impressive, and you have to credit them at least partially for what they've been able to do this season, nevertheless. And we're seeing a Peoria team that is the real deal tonight, that's for sure. Behind the defense is Hagman. He turns the corner, looks to pick the corner, and he fired just wide of the glove side post. Reynolds is clipped, and there's going to be a penalty called against the Rivermen. Reynolds draws a penalty for the Mayhem. Tripping is the call against Peoria. And Macon will go to its first power play since the first period. The penalty called against Pius Rulavicius. Macon going to just its second power play of the entire game. The first one wasn't even a full attempt. They took a penalty not long after. Nick Minerva guilty of kneeing himself, and then that led to a 4-on-4, which ultimately turned into 2 Peoria goals. 104 seconds remain in the second period. We'll see if the Mayhem can chip away at this deficit a bit before heading into period 3. Seamer is closed off possession of the puck, but he stays on his skates, battling for it against Escraba now, and it's worked to Caligiuri, cleared up to the point just past Zach Urban, and Bazovic has it now at the red line and will backpedal into his own end. Kristaps Bazovic up to Mike Cimello. Cimello chips it into the zone, right past Nick Neville. Cimello sends it around to the far corner. Bazovic scrapping for it. Cimello ends up with it on his stick, feeds it up to the top of the right circle. Zach Urban's shot, pad save, rebound, covered up by Phaneuf in the crease. Cimello was lurking there, hoping for the puck to come loose. Urban getting into some confrontations now behind the Peoria net. Zach Urban in his first home game since returning from a 10-game stint in which he played for the Toledo Walleye, the Detroit Red Wings affiliate in the ECHL, had an assist through 10 games, and I spoke with their broadcaster, the Toledo broadcaster, about him. He said that they liked him, and he had a really good defensive presence on the blue line and had a nice long reach, could help his team make plays, and unfortunately they just they couldn't hold on to him. Too many defensemen returned from injuries and returned from the Grand Rapids Griffins and whatnot, the Red Wings' top farm team, who seem to be in the Calder Cup playoffs or finals just about every year. Jarrett Cup fighting for it with Alec Hagman, who escapes with possession of it. Tallene tries to flush him out, but in doing so, Hagman has cleared it down the length. Creel will play it to his left. 44 seconds remain in the period, a minute on the power play for Macon. Minerva on the breakout from his own blue line, now gains red and flings it into the left corner of the ice near the Powerade dasher board. Kevin Patterson loses possession. Tallene taps it back to Minerva, up to the top of the left circle. Minerva gets it right back, but Reynolds' pass was just out of his reach. Offside will be the call against Macon. 18.2 seconds remain in the second period. Time enough for one last power play shot for Macon. They'll have to get this zone entry done pretty quick here. Leo will send out the big guns for this opportunity here. Seamer, Cameron, and Urban, Bazovic, Cimello in Trask's spot right now. Zach Urban shovels a pass over to Kristaps Bazovic, 10 seconds. Urban gets it right back on the D-to-D in the neutral zone. Swatted off his blade by Girdler. And Bazovic has one last opportunity. There will be a penalty called against Macon, and that is the worst possible time to take a penalty, and Zach Urban has done just that. The Mayhem had the puck. Time was winding down. There was 1.3 seconds left on the clock. an exceptionally needless penalty called against Zach Urban, and Leo Thomas is not going to be happy with that. The Mayhem will start period 3 on the 4-on-4 for 16 seconds before going shorthanded for the 4th time tonight. Neither team has converted on the power play, and when this period ends, that will continue to be the case. The Mayhem have just dropped to 0 for 2 on the night, the Rivs 0 for 3. As the second period has now just officially come to an end. 3-0 the score in favor of the Peoria Rivermen. The lone goal in that period coming off the stick of Ben Blasco, who leads the entire SPHL in scoring. Jake Trask was on the bench, but he did not return to the ice. So we hope he is all right. I'm trying to pay attention to him, seeing if he's favoring one leg or one arm, or if I can get a hint as to what's wrong. But boy, folks, without Trask, the Mayhem are really, really playing shorthanded. They lost Stathis a couple of weeks ago to the Florida Everblades, the Carolina Hurricanes affiliates. They lost Sam Wilbur to the St. Louis Blues farm team, the Tulsa Oilers. Dakota Kletch is injured. Jimmy Soper's injured. And then, of course, the list goes on with their goaltenders, Jordan Ruby, Gordon Dave Fiel, Andrew D'Agostini, and then defensemen Brandon Fade, Jake Fayella. And Brandon Perrone, who's also a former Peoria Riverman, who's now with the Norfolk Admirals. So it's just been a real challenge for the Mayhem, who've lost so much talent in such a short period of time. They're just trying to band together and piece this roster and gel together and get some wins. But you're playing against a team like Peoria, who's in first place for a reason, folks, and they're showing it tonight. It's not easy to just throw together so many mixed pieces, which I know that Leo Thomas has done an outstanding job of molding the team together and creating the unit that he had when he started the season. But when there's this much turnover, it's a challenge for any team and any coach to go through. Should also mention, folks, that Justin Levesque is not feeling well either. He is not in the game tonight. Just the list goes on. The amount of players that the Mayhem should have at their disposal that are just not available for one reason or another. It's pretty frustrating to think about, because really this is not to discredit the players that are out there right now or anything, but this is not the Mayhem at full strength in the slightest. They're missing almost 2 forward lines. No Levesque, no Soper, no Trask right now. No Kletcha, no Wilbur, no Sumalitis. And those two guys are on loan. Wilbur's been playing pretty well for the Tulsa Oilers. Got 2 points through 6 games played. I spoke with John Peterson about him, the Oilers broadcaster. They really like him. Good sizable forward with some skill and some physicality that he brings. But we don't expect to see him again anytime soon. And then Stathis Sumalitis, the jury's still out on him. He got into a fight in his first game with the Florida Everblades and just got an assist the other day. So he seems to be meshing with the Everblades pretty well too. He seems to be enjoying it too. And who wouldn't? The beautiful area down in southwestern Florida, pretty close to Marco Island and Estero. And the staff took a trip to the Florida Keys not long ago. Stathis having just turned 25 years old. His fellow alternate captain John Seamer today turning 27. We'll see if he can help lead the Mayhem with the other leaders not with him right now. Stathis is down in Florida and Trask has not been able to return to action. So Seamer would be the lone alternate captain, but Urban was just promoted to that position today. So again, folks, 3-0 is your score. Bo Walker, Alec Hagman, Ben Blasco with the goals. Those first two scored in the first period within 46 seconds of each other Bo Walker with a slap shot from above the right circle. Alec Hagman with a breakaway goal following a turnover in the neutral zone, rushing back down into the offensive zone and splitting one through the 5-hole of Tanner Creel. Blasco's goal, he was uncontested as well on a breakaway after a brilliant three-way passing play between Kevin Patterson, Bo Walker, and Ben Blasco, who finished it all off for his league-leading 40th point on the campaign. In case you missed our weekend preview, folks, we're going to play it back for you here in a few moments. I had the chance of catching up with Mayhem defenseman Larry Smith. We plan on playing that full interview back probably on Camo Night, since it'll be more fitting anyways, because we did talk about Camo Night
our home and home series
in this game, or in this interview, I should say. So we'll hear from myself previewing the weekend series. You'll hear from Larry Smith as well. And in case you missed it, we'll play back the Jarrett Cup interview on the Creek shortly after that. All that and more coming your way momentarily, folks. Keep it right here on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Well, our home and home series with the Huntsville Havoc certainly lived up to its hype. The Mayhem smoked the defending champs on Friday night by a 4-1 final. They outshot them, outplayed them, and ultimately snapped the Havoc's 5-game win streak. On Saturday night, however, unfortunately, in the Mayhem's road trip to Huntsville, they fell just shy in an up-tempo tilt in which they fell 5-4. Mayhem defenseman Jarrett Cup, however, had a tremendous series and a tremendous game. He notched a goal and 2 assists and was a Warrior Hockey Player of the Week nominee.
Down in front, here's Cup firing and scoring as the goaltender had been taken out, and they are signaling a goal.
As for this upcoming weekend, well, it'll be a special one for several reasons. It'll be the first 3-game home series the Mayhem have this season. It'll also be their first time out against the Peoria Rivermen, a team they've not faced yet all year, a team that sits comfortably in first place in the entire SPHL. They're 10 points ahead of the second-place Birmingham Bulls, and we really look forward to this clash of titans at the Coliseum this weekend. Thursday is College Night, presented by GMC Warner Robins and Ann Parman Law Firm. Admission is $10 at the door, $8 with a valid college ID. It's also an all-you-can-eat night. For just $35, you can get 1 sweet ticket, 1 free Mayhem hat, and as much food as your heart desires. Friday is Superhero Night. We'll have superheroes greeting folks in the lobby. We'll have a superhero contest challenge and in one of the intermissions. So be sure to dress as your favorite superhero come Friday night. And, of course, Saturday is Camo Night, presented by Tommy's Bakery and Cafe. The Mayhem will be wearing specialty Mossy Oak camouflage jerseys, which will be sold at a live auction in the lobby of the Centreplex following Saturday night's game. And Mayhem defenseman and avid outdoorsman Larry Smith is particularly excited about this one.
Those nights really fire me up because, I love the outdoors. I love hunting, love fishing, love pretty much anything in the outdoors. But it's really about, get people that serve our country, and that stuff really gets to my heart and fires me up when I can play for those guys. So,
what's been kind of the message throughout the week at practice and from Leo to the guys?
Pretty much it's going to be, they're a good team. They've always been a good team. It's going to be a battle all 3 games. So we're just going to have to come to play and play all 60 minutes, all 3 games, and hopefully we'll come out with 3 or 6 points.
Saturday night's also a family 4-pack night, folks. That's 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, and 4 bags of chips, all for just $54, as well as a free large pizza at Amici. So get your tickets today. 478-803-1592 is the Mayhem front office main line to contact for all things related to fundraisers, groups, and 4-packs, etc. For general admission tickets, just swing by the box office here at 200 Coliseum Drive or visit our website, MaconMayhem.com, and purchase them via Ticketmaster. We'll see you this weekend, Mayhem fans. With a Mayhem, we'll get all gillied up to hunt the Peoria Rivermen.
The Creek Row Music Rail Radio, the Cactus Blossoms. That is brand new music. Please don't call me crazy. Creekside Mornings, Tony, Charles, David. Yes, I am recording Alex Van Coydel. Telling me how to do my gig all morning, man. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm a little bit better that you're recording this time.
I'm recording. I'm not going to email the file to you, though. You're not going to get it, but I am recording it for posterity.
He'll mail it to you.
Macon Mayhem, a big week this week, man. 3 home games.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night.
Yes, sir.
Thursday night is College Night. Friday night, Superhero Night. And one of the big ones, Saturday night, is Camo Night. You guys are doing the special Mossy Oak jerseys. Mm-hmm. They're going to have a jersey auction. Now, being camouflage jerseys, does it make the players harder to see on the ice? because they're camouflaged?
I don't see. That's a good question. I don't know if we're getting like Arctic camo. That would be good.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense. So I don't know if it's too late to put in that request. It probably is.
I would say, yeah.
Considering it's Saturday, probably. But you guys are doing the jersey auction after the game on Saturday night, which is always huge. People love collecting those one-off jerseys for the Macon Mayhem.
Yeah. Well, you were there this past weekend. You saw how many Simpsons or 90s themed jerseys there were in the audience.
They're definitely walking through the crowd. People wear them. Yeah.
David,
those look really good.
David was the in-game host Friday night. We won 4-1.
4-1.
On Friday night against Huntsville. It was a home weekend. You guys played a home game on Friday, went to Huntsville on Saturday. That was a shootout. That was a high-scoring game, 5-4.
It was, yeah.
Macon split the home with Huntsville, but you brought in one of the Mayhem players, Jarrett Cupp. Good morning, Jarrett. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well.
So tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from, Jarrett?
So I grew up 2 hours north of Toronto, back up north in Canada. This is my first year with the Mayhem. I'm excited to be here this morning. I'm just looking forward to what's in the future.
When did you start playing hockey?
So I think I started when I was about 3 or 4. Loved it ever since. Actually, probably hated it my first year. My dad told me that I quit because I couldn't skate, but
you obviously got over that.
Who can skate when they first try, right?
Exactly. So you played through high school. Did you play college hockey?
Yeah,
did you go straight semi-pro?
I've played my entire life. Went through college, played college just south of Boston. So I went there for 4 years, and then last year, Caleb Cameron, number 10 on Macon with us, he got me out here for a couple weeks, and then this year, since I was done college and I was looking for a place to play, and now I'm here.
Very nice. You enjoying Macon so far?
Yeah, love it. It's a lot of fun. It's a good community, and the fans are great.
Yeah, the fans are great. I was talking to Alex off air. Friday night, we were sitting in front of a family. They drive 80 miles from Pitts, Georgia, to come up and check out the Mayhem home games. And they have a little girl, and she was so sweet. She's cute as a button. Looked like she was maybe 7 years old. She was insane. She was a crazy hockey fan. Knew all you guys, was screaming out names. She was having a blast.
Yeah.
And that's the point that I want to stress is that these Mayhem games, if you've not been to one, they are great family entertainment. You can really have a great time at these Mayhem games. Good for kids, and the players really get into the support from the kids, too. That's got to be a great part of it.
Yeah, it's always nice to get the kids out, especially down here where hockey's not as big as the other sports. It's always good to grow the sport, and the more fans that we can have, the better.
Absolutely, and you don't have to understand the nuances of the rules of hockey to enjoy a hockey game. And I was talking about that because you're a defenseman. Yet over the course of the last few games, you've been on a scoring tear. So how does that happen as a defenseman that you're scoring so many goals on offense?
It's a little bit of puck luck and a little bit of just being in the right place at the right time. And
I'm going to ding the bell for puck luck. I'm going to steal that from you.
I like that.
But as a hockey player, you have to be able to do dual duty. Even if you're a defenseman, you have to be able to play offense too because those situations arise.
Yeah, definitely. No matter what position you play, it's huge to be able to play both ends of the rink. And, I've just been fortunate enough to contribute offensively lately. And, we need scoring and defensive from everybody.
All right. Well, Jared, thank you for coming on the show this morning. Great to meet you. It's always good to put a face with a name on the back of the jersey from the team.
I think his first goal with the Mayhem was a few weeks ago. It was at home against Birmingham, I want to say, and it was one of the best goals we've scored all season. He was just a rocket from the blue line, probably a 55-footer. It was
wow.
Far down.
I appreciate it.
Nice job. Alex, let's talk about playoffs, because even though the end of the season is not until the end of March, got to start thinking about that at this point in the season. Where do the Mayhem stand right now?
Well, right now we're a point ahead of Birmingham, so it's a tight race. We've been kind of neck and neck with them all season. We got the split with Huntsville, so that was pretty good for us. They were on a 5-game winning streak when they came into our building for the home and home series. So
you shut that down real quick Friday night.
Yeah, and then we were able to compete with them really close on their home turf on Saturday, which was important. It was a 5-4 decision, so that was close.
Who's leading the league right now?
Right now, Peoria, who's coming into our building next weekend.
For 3 games. So this is going to be a big weekend.
Yeah, and they've got a huge point lead on everyone else right now in the standings, and some people have sort of discredited the run that they're on because they've played some weaker opponents in their schedule than we have, but you still have to look at them as a really dangerous team, and you have to credit what they've been able to do this year.
But this weekend, a great opportunity for the Mayhem to edge up on Peoria in the standings, which is important when you choose your opponents for the playoffs.
That's right. Yeah, we're doing the challenge round again this year. So the top seed chooses the 8th seed who they want to face in the first round, and then the second seed, if we were to be the second seed, for example, we would choose the 7th or the next best or next worst, I guess.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
All right. So a very important home game stand.
Right.
Get out and support the Mayhem Thursday night. Anthony will be your in-game host. Friday night's David.
That's right. And I got to ask, is Mac going to be back this week? Is he going to return from the upside down?
Yeah, where was Mac Friday?
He was stuck in the upside down.
He was lost, yeah. You guys didn't hear? We got him out of the upside down.
Good.
Oh, good.
He and Barb were...
Eating Eggos.
I'm not going to get into details on how we found him, but we got him out
But
of
he'll
there.
be back.
You had to go in, didn't you, Alex? You had to go into the upside down and drag him back out.
I don't want to relive it.
Because if you guys noticed, Colin had to go out there and do push-ups.
I did notice that.
In Mac's absence, Colin dropped down and did a few push-ups in his suit.
And I will point out, during the Kruger Chuck-a-Puck, you've always got that one little tiny kid out there who does push-ups and then stands up and raises his arms so the crowd will applaud.
Yeah, you guys are back in the dressing room. This kid... he draws a lot of attention.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
He
the
gets a lot
crowd
of
standing ovation, and everyone else is like, dude, pick up some more pucks. And he's just like, reveling in it.
Worship me. Worship me. And Saturday night, I'll be the in-game host.
Oh, great.
So we'll see you guys this weekend.
All right.
Macon Mayhem, get those tickets for the 3-game run against Peoria this weekend. It's 100.9 The Creek. Here's some Jamestown Revival.
Only have 2 minutes, right?
Right.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sorry for that little delay. We're back to bring you third period action here at the Macon Centreplex. The Mayhem hosting the Peoria Rivermen and facing them for the first time all season. It's not gone according to the plan for the Mayhem. It started with losing their best player, Jake Trask, who has not returned to the ice. He's returned to the bench, but I don't think it's a good sign that he's on the bench and not on the ice. It means that he's well enough to stand up and support the guys, and he's well enough to skate under his own power, but he's not well enough to play. So they're might be a lingering issue. I expect to get more updated information from Lisa Connolly and from Leo Thomas here after the game's over, and I'm sure we'll have a report out officially on what happened a little bit later. I did see that he got hit right before. It was an open ice hit, and he was slow to get up, sort of down on all fours for a little while as he sort of just labored back to the Macon bench. But he's somebody that the Mayhem cannot afford to have out for an extended period of time. He's just so valuable. He's tied for the team lead in scoring. He's one of their leaders. He's the heart and soul of the Mayhem, and he's just, without a doubt, somebody that they're going to need back. 3-0 Peoria is your score as period 3 is now underway. Greenberg receives the pass and gives it right back to Neville. And Nick Neville will take a hit. Greenberg does as well. It's speared aside by Storm Phaneuf, and John Seamer will leave it. Derek Sutliff back towards Seamer. The Rivermen return to full strength. Rulavicius is let out of the box, and the Rivermen go to their 4th power play of this game, and so begins this Mayhem penalty kill brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning. Left off for Ben Blasco, the most recent goal scorer, who sauces a rink-wide pass to Greenberg, up to Neville at the blue line, back to Blasco above the left circle. Greenville into the slot, redirected on goal, turnaround shot, they score right through the 5-hole of Creel. The Mayhem's perfect night on the PK has just come to an end, and scoring that goal, it looks like his second of the game, Bo Walker, or rather Rulavicius, just a spin-around shot from right in front of Creel, just whacked it through his 5-hole, and the Rivermen have taken a 4-0 lead. Caleb Cameron wins the ensuing neutral zone draw. Bazovic's up to Reynolds, who will just shovel it into Peoria territory. It's fired around the boards out to the far side. Greenberg having some difficulty clearing it, but he's going to get a second chance. Third chance, finally it's whacked out past Reynolds. And Urban will try to send it in from center. It went off a Peoria body. Urban down the left wing side is ridden into the boards on the corner by Patterson. It squeaks past a pinching Bazovics, and the Rivermen get a chance here as Hageman races in. His weak shot is easily stopped by Tanner Creel. Bazovics, a loose touch, has the puck go off his stick. He will send it back to Jarrett Cup. Cup's got it now. He will halt behind his own goal. Bazovics goes head over heels, tumbling. There was a Peoria player crossing by that he bumped into. That was Bo Walker, and he was a little bit slower to get up than Bazovics was. Sort of incidental contact between the two of them. Walker's got it now near the Mayhem logo at center ice. Blasco slides it down the boards and around him behind the net. Veith had a quiet game despite Peoria's dominance tonight. Austin Veith has been one of their most dominant players this season. He is tied for the league lead with Ben Blasco, his teammate in plus-minus, a +25. No icing here as the puck had been deflected. Patterson chip it into Macon territory below the goal line. Larry Smith is back behind his own net. 2.5 minutes have gone by. Smith's pass gets intercepted in the slot and turned back behind the net by Yakura. Here comes Nick Minerva. The outlet is to Caligiuri, who will chip it in past Patterson, who's bulldozed by Nick Minerva on his way through. Cutting off the clearing attempt is Seamer, but it bounces over his stick. Smith covers ground at center and slides it over to Vinny Caligiuri now. Smith's got it again. We hope you enjoyed listening to Larry Smith in that interview in the second intermission. Seamer gains the line, sets up Sutliff. He sends it over off the pads. It went wide of Seamer's blade, who tried to tap it home in the follow-up shot. Atwell gets stick lifted, but stays with it and manages to work it past his own blue line, and now Zach Urban will go back to get it. Chris Daps Bazovics. That is pass pinball off a skate of Hageman. Urban intercepting at center, leading the rush back into the Peoria zone himself. Reynolds will send it behind the net. Big body check again, delivered by Cameron. He's been on a man and a mission tonight. Greenberg slips it through for Hageman. Hageman will fire it in from the neutral zone, stopped by a jumping Tanner Creel who made the stop. Urban. Now it's Sutliff. Waits for the seam to open. His pass is redirected by Reynolds, but they call icing all the same. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. 16:04 to play in the third period. Peoria now with a commanding 4-0 lead. Folks, don't forget to get your tickets for tomorrow night's game, Superhero Night here at the Macon Centreplex. There'll be a superhero contest challenge. There'll be superheroes in the lobby greeting fans through the doors. We encourage any fans interested in coming to wear their own favorite superhero costumes to the arena. And then Saturday night, this Saturday night is Camo Night presented by Tommy's Bakery and Cafe. Slap shot from the right point is blocked by Chris Stapps. Cameron collects the loose puck and he will shovel it into Peoria territory. Storm Phaneuf passes one out to his left. Ben Blasco chips it into the zone. He is ridden into the sideboards by Alexander Tallene. Blasco jumps in to intercept the clearing attempt from Jarrett Cup. Tallene not giving him an inch of space to work his magic down the boards, and the SPHL's top scorer is taken well out of the play. He, however, sets up shop in front of the net of Creel. The shot is blocked by Taylor Love, who with his stick will send it around to Seth Ronsberg. Ronsberg evades an Alec Hageman dive. Hageman redirects it into the offensive zone. Rather, that was Veith, and now Bo Walker is checked by Taylor Love. He backhands it up the left boards. Michael Cimello in there digging for it. Cimello turns the corner. And it's whacked off his blade all the way down and behind the net. Creel will play it. Nick Minerva on the outlet pass was intended for Derek Sutliff. It went off a Peoria stick, and that flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. We're going to take a whistle and a timeout stopping play here with 14:45 left to go in period 3. We're going to head to our first third period media timeout.
Don't forget, Mayhem fans, the Mayhem are having a different promotional night for every one of their home games in the 2018-19 season. With 90s Night, Superhero Night, Princess Night, Military Weekend, and so much more, there won't be a game all season where we won't have something exciting going on at the Macon Centreplex. Visit our website at MaconMayhem.com for more details.
In case you didn't hear, folks, Saturday is also a family 4-pack night presented by Amici. You can purchase your 4-packs by calling the Macon Mayhem front office at 478-803-1592. Those 4-packs are just an incredible deal. For $54, you can get 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, and 4 bags of chips, as well as a free large pizza at Amici. The voucher can be used for that up until May. So there's no rush to get your free large pizza. That can be purchased as long as you purchase 4 drinks, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, at Amici. There are 2 locations, one in Macon and one in Milledgeville, about 30 minutes or so away from Macon. Sutliff across the blue line, feeds it up to Caligiuri. His shot goes over the crossbar, bounces off the stanchions behind the net. And Seamer's pass was intended for Sutliff. It never reached him. Peoria's cleared it out to the neutral zone. Larry Smith dodges a bullet in the form of Drake Hunter, the likes of whom we have not seen much of so far in this game. His shifts have been few and far between, but when he's had them, he's taken some runs at guys. Oh, and then Seamer is upended by a hip check from Greenberg. 2 sticks clash, they cancel as Minerva and Greenberg both took a whack at it. The Rivermen are on a delayed penalty. The whistle blows here as Patterson touches the puck. I believe a roughing call is forthcoming against Peoria. Ralphs Grinbergs, the Latvian, is going to skate to the Mayhem is Everywhere All-State Bonding penalty box. Macon going to its 3rd power play of this game. They've not converted yet, and they're in danger of being shut out. Just 14 minutes remain in this contest. They have the chance to continue and extend Peoria's penalty-killing struggles. Last weekend in Pensacola, the team really did struggle on the PK, and Pensacola was able to boost their power play success rate by quite a bit. Minerva's got to hustle back to defend a short-handed rush by Alec Hagman. He does so in textbook fashion and gets checked by Hagman, but stole the puck, and the trade-off was worth it for him as he will start racing right up the middle of the ice and sends it off a Macon stick. It's redirected wide of Storm Fanuff's net and blasted back around the boards. Whipped back down the ice into the Mayhem zone. Creel will just leave it for Jarrett Cup. Bazovics. Diagonal pass up to his right. Tallene sends it into the left corner. Redirects off of a stick back to Urban at the point. His long slap shot is blocked by a Peoria stick. A flying puck brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. Lots of pushes and shoves and a few punches being thrown after the whistle. And I believe that Bloyer is going to send a few guys off here. Nolan Bloyer is the first time, if I'm not mistaken, the first time we've seen him officiating a game at the Macon Centreplex this season. And Alexander Tallene will be one of the culprits. Will it be him and him alone? It appears so. No one from Peoria is skating over to the sin bin. And we'll head back to the 4-on-4. Two of the three Macon power plays tonight have resulted in 4-on-4 play. They've not really been able to maintain their man advantage. They've been getting themselves into trouble while on the power play, which is really the worst time you can get into trouble, especially now. Roughing is the penalty against Alexander Tallene. And we go back to the 4-on-4. The last time we were on a 4-on-4 situation, Peoria scored twice back in the first period within 46 seconds. Bazovics to Cameron. Dropped back to Seamer. Over the blue line for Bazovics. He tries to slip the return pass through. It goes off the pads of Fanuff. It's been lobbed all the way down. Tanner Creel with his arm up decides to play the puck instead. And Zach Urban begins the rush out of his own zone. Cameron's on the left wing. He will charge in to the Peoria end. And while falling, his shot is denied by Fanuff. And Cameron went crashing into him after losing his edge. He tried to turn that corner really sharply. Caleb Cameron's got good speed, and he likes to go wide on opponents and defensemen, but there just wasn't any real estate there. Peoria, you're seeing why they're so good at keeping the puck out of their own net. No team has done it better so far this season than the Rivermen. On the campaign, the Rivermen have allowed just 2.09 goals against per game on average. It's by far the league lowest. The Mayhem used to hold that title. Not so anymore after a recent flurry of games have been pretty high scoring for Macon. Minerva in his own end with 12:20 to play in regulation time. Smith up to Ronsberg rather. Sutliff's pass goes off the stick of Ronsberg. Out to play it now is Fanuff, who nearly mishandled it. And it redirects directly into the Peoria bench. Blues Painting and Home Repair flying puck. Ronsberg was a guest on the WGXA Power Play show before this game started. He's back at forward tonight with Urban's return. The two of them were guests together, as a matter of fact, so a shout out to the two of them for being willing to do that on a game day. You know, hockey players and their rituals, they don't like anything to disrupt their rituals, and they're willing to do it, put themselves on camera and be a part of that show and be guests on the show. The Rivermen have just returned to full strength as Ralph Grinbergs has been let out of the penalty box. The Mayhem returning to the PK. Their last PK, they allowed a goal. They're 3 for 4 on the night. Here's Neville. We'll feed it off to a Scraba, whose slap shot skitters wide to the right post. Neville's able to keep it in the attacking zone. A Scraba. Slap shot again, fought off by the blocker of Creel. It bounces behind the net. Hagman has his pocket picked by Sutliff, who works it up the boards, but it's kept by Neville. We get a whistle for a penalty again, this time for hooking, called against the Rivermen. So the odds will be evened out again. The Mayhem have just improved to 4 for 5 on the night on the PK. Lots of 4-on-4 play tonight. Lots of power plays being wiped out. One way or the other. So Caleb Cameron will step in to take an offensive zone draw. He's got Seamer on his right, Urban behind him along with Jarrett Cupp. Seamer with a good stick lift. Take it away from Patterson. Seamer really getting his nose dirty, trying to make something happen. Peoria just so good at getting the puck out of their own zone and wasting no time. They do not mess around with it when the puck's in their zone. Toronto Maple Leafs head coach Mike Babcock has described the three zones as such. The offensive zone being the fun zone, the neutral zone being the speed zone, and the defensive zone being the work zone. And in the work zone tonight, the Rivermen have been working overtime. To finish the sentiment, Babcock said that he'd like to spend as much time as possible in the fun zone. Urban sends it into the fun zone. Derek Sutliff working it up to Urban at the left point. He receives the pass in the deep slot, hammers a slap shot, fought off by Storm Phaneuf. Urban hoping for his first goal with the Mayhem. Sutliff left corner, trying to slip the pass back through for Sean Reynolds. It's been cleared past him all the way down. Tanner Creel can't really touch the puck, or he couldn't for a few seconds. It was in the restricted area. 40 seconds remain on the hooking penalty called against Alec Hageman, who is second in the SPHL in penalty minutes this season with 90. Now storming down the right wing side is Sean Reynolds, pickpocketed by Ralph Grinbergs. Loose puck is scooped up by Pius Rulavicius. Tallinn fires it back up to the blue line. Nick Minerva keeps it in the zone with his body. Sends it behind the net again. Phaneuf will wrap it around. Couldn't quite clear it himself as Cupp keeps it in the zone. Cupp turns the corner, fires a wrist shot, stopped by Storm Phaneuf. Tallinn was tapping his stick. He wanted that pass from Jarrett Cupp, who decided to pull the trigger himself, and he's got a hot stick, why not? But Tallinn's got an even hotter stick. He's scored goals in 4 consecutive games, nearly had one tonight, probably nearly had 2 tonight. One of them came in the last few seconds of period 1, in which he drew irons, striking it off the right elbow of the net, and then another one came after a strange-looking save was made by Storm Phaneuf on a sharp angle shot.
Next season, the Mayhem are offering the most inclusive and rewarding ticket package in team history. These perks extend over all 28 home games at the Macon Centreplex. Your season ticket package gets you 2 buddy passes to any of the 28 home games, a 32-ounce Mayhem souvenir cup with $3 refills, a discounted season-long parking pass with access to VIP parking, 10% savings at the Mac Shack, a Mayhem lanyard, early access to the arena before games, VIP entrance to the arena, 3 exclusive team gifts, talk with the coach before the games, and much more. Head to MaconMayhem.com to check out how you can secure your spot for the 2018-2019 season of Mayhem hockey.
Nick Minerva keeping the puck alive at the left point. The Rivermen have just returned to full strength as Hagman is let out of the box for serving that hooking minor. He's going to get a 2-on-1 rush immediately thereafter. He's got a man with him on his left. He does a toe drag, holds on, shoots, stopped by Creel. Minerva picks up a loose puck, tries to send it around his own end wall, and was interrupted by Mike Gertler. And turning the corner with it now is Hagman, the Peoria captain. Sent one off of Gertler, then tries the wrap around. Minerva got his stick in the way and got his stick up high on him, so high sticking penalty will be the call against the Mayhem's youngest player, the 22-year-old defenseman Nick Minerva, who's upset with the call from Nolan Bloyer, but he's going to take a seat for the second time tonight. Minerva second in the Mayhem in penalty minutes this season behind only Alex Tallinn. So the penalty against him, 2 minutes for high sticking. Peoria going to their 6th power play of this game. The Mayhem have had a hard time staying disciplined lately. Last Saturday night in Huntsville, they went to the PK 7 times. Jarrett Cupp turns on the Jets to outrace everyone to the puck, including Storm Phaneuf, but there was nobody with him as his team was shorthanded. Mayhem could not commit too many bodies forward on that opportunity. Caligiuri steals it at center, turns up ice with it, 1 against 4. He fires, it goes off a stick, pinballs wide of the net. Stays on it, forces Rulavicius to move it. And Nick Neville for Greenberg, Peoria's top power play unit still out there. Blasco drops it back off. Veith moves in and fires, and just getting a piece of his wrist shot was Tanner Creel to keep the Mayhem within 4. Neville, Blasco, wrist shot, blocked. He gets it back above the left circle, spins it back, and it rolls over the blue line past it. Neville will have to reorganize. 7:50 to play here in period 3. We're halfway through this Peoria power play. Greenberg tries to slide an extra pass over. It goes off a Macon stick. Slides up to the right point now. Patterson's got it. Kevin Patterson to Greenberg. He will reverse it back up to the blue line for Patterson, whose wrist shot redirects wide as Mike Gertler couldn't tuck it in. Greenberg again, circle-to-circle pass, Blasco into the slot, hoping for an extra play to get Dean Yakura a chance, but it went off a skate and down into the neutral zone. It slides. John Seamer's penalty-killing unit is now out there with 24 seconds remaining on the PK for the Mayhem. This Mayhem penalty kill is brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air. Hoping to go 5 for 6 if they can successfully kill off the next quarter minute. Patterson lost an edge behind his own goal line. The Rivermen don't really seem to be rushing the issue here as they've got a comfortable 4-goal lead to work with late in regulation. The slap shot that sails over Tanner Creel's crossbar. Mayhem, however, not yet out of the woods as it's moved up to the right point now for Patterson. The Niagara grad angles it off the backboards intentionally for a pass. Here's a turnaround shot that misses the right post. It's cycled up to Patterson again, who drives it, blocked by the last man standing in front of Tanner Creel. It might have been friendly fire, if I'm not mistaken. It was Bo Walker who blocked the shot on the way through. It pinballs back out to the red line in the neutral zone. Atwell, Walker, the shoulder shimmy and shuffleboards it down the boards and into the Macon zone. John Seamer's got it behind his own net with 6 to go in the third period, his team trailing by 4. Sutliff faked as though he were going to pick it off. Alexander Tallene with a loose touch on the puck. He takes a run at Nick Neville. Hageman slips it deep. Bazovics. His pass went off the stick of Tallene and all the way down. Icing is the call against Macon. Brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. They'll be forced to kill off another defensive zone face-off. Well, Thursday nights are never great in terms of attendance, folks. There's obviously it's a work night. People have got obligations early tomorrow morning, and especially when there's a delay like this. Right now, it's 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10:25 to be exact, and pretty much everyone in the building tonight, except for the retirees, have either work or school or something tomorrow morning, and they're sticking around despite the score and despite their obligations for tomorrow. So right now in the building, some of the most diehard fans the Mayhem have to offer. As Cameron receives the pass in the slot and will drop it back for Tallene, who will leave it for Bazovics, who shoots and scores. Kristaps Bazovics has broken the shutout bid of Storm Phaneuf. A nice three-way passing play from Cameron to Tallene to Bazovics, who rifles home his 3rd goal of the season. And the Mayhem are back to within 3. It's 4-1 Peoria. So the folks here at the Centreplex who have not had a whole heck of a lot to cheer for tonight get a little bit of life and some perhaps momentum heading into tomorrow night. The fans here know that this is the beginning, the first game of a long series against the top team in the SPHL. It will be a grind. It will be a rough weekend for the Mayhem. If they do, whatever points they manage to get from this series will not come easily. Every single point, just like every square foot of ice out there tonight, will be earned. And that goal from Bazovic, though it may not make an impact on the final score tonight, might make a bigger difference than one would think in the long run. As Seymour tries to beat Storm enough to the puck behind his own net, and it rolls back up to the line. Urban fakes, gives it down the adjacent wall. A centering pass from Reynolds to Caligiuri is hacked wide. It's cleared out to the Macon logo at center ice. Urban up to Caligiuri, who will swipe it in. Enough for Patterson. Patterson has his stick lifted by Seymour, but stays on the puck. Seymour really fond on the stick lift on the forecheck. He's excellent forcing the issue and creating havoc for opponents near their own net. Sutliff swivels in across the blue line. He will give it to Jarrett Cupp, who backhands it behind the net. Speared away from Michael Ciamello in timely fashion by Kevin Patterson. And Love twisting and turning. He gets a step. He fires. He missed the left post. Nice opportunity for Taylor Love. Minerva will hammer a slap shot. That's blocked. Stays in the zone. Minerva's second shot. This time reaches the netminder enough, but he made the save with his stick. Love with 3:10 to go in the third period. 4-1 the score in favor of Peoria. I do not expect to see Tanner Creel pulled for a sixth attacker, as Sutliff will send it across the blue line. That may change, of course, if the Mayhem can get another one quickly. A miscommunication there as Smith coughs it up in front of his own net, but the shot never really came to fruition from Rulavicius. Slap shot from the left half wall by Rulavicius, stopped by Creel. Rulavicius stays on it. He will filter the pass all the way through back to Nick Neville, whose slap shot is stopped by Creel. There was a loose puck on the doorstep, and a quick whistle saved the Mayhem there, perhaps. Some more pushes and shoves, a little prelude of what is inevitably to come for the rest of the weekend. 2:37 to play in the third period. It's our last media timeout of this game. 4-1 Peoria is your score.
This season, the Mayhem are offering a great group package. Whether you're a school, a church, a company, or just a group of friends, give the Mayhem office a call and we'll set you up with an incredible group deal. From $13 tickets to free team hats to a unique experience upgrade of your choosing, the Mayhem have got you and your group covered. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to purchase your group tickets to a Mayhem game today. Need to raise some money for your organization? Contact the Mayhem front office and we'll be happy to partner up with your group to help you fundraise for a cause. You buy tickets from us at $10, you sell them for $15, and then you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whatever cause you like. Call our office at 478-803-1592 to set up a fundraiser for your organization today.
So Peoria winning the offensive zone draw with 2.5 to play in the third period. But Cameron has it now in the left circle and will sauce one over the stick of Ronsberg. It's batted further by Tallene and cleared by Storm Phaneuf. He's a really active goaltender back there. The scouting report I've got on him so far is that he likes to come out of his net a lot, but he's very good at it. He's for the most part, he makes the right play at the right time with the stick. He can move it well. He can angle the pass as well, and he times his jumps at the right moments, it seems like. It's going to be another penalty here against Peoria. And Pius Rulavicius now skates to the Mayhem is Everywhere All-State Bonding penalty box. Excuse me, that's Austin Veith. The Mayhem are going to go to their fourth power play of this game. They've not converted yet tonight. High sticking is the call against Veith. Mayhem are going to see if they can add a little bit more momentum heading into tomorrow night. with another goal here, another consolation goal perhaps. John Seamer. This Mayhem power play is brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe. Kristaps Bazovics feeds it off to his right. Seamer races down the right wing side. He's got a step. He centers it, hoping for Cameron. It bounces away from both him and Chamello. And Grinbergs will calmly send one up. Rulavicius from the blue line fires it on net. Creel makes the save. Seamer. Rips it in. Off the left corner, it bounces. Tallene delivers a huge hit. The crowd loving that. Nick Neville was upended by the 6'3", 218-pound power forward, Alex Tallene. Minerva's wrist shot didn't have much on it. The Mayhem on a delayed offside here as Bazovics tries to stick handle his way through. Jarrett Cup has it. We're in the final minute of regulation. Cup turns on the Jets. Leads a pass ahead for Reynolds. Into the slot. Sutliff whiffs on the shot, and it's been cleared. 36 seconds remain on this power play. Zach Urban. 40 to go here in period 3. Skate to stick reception by Cup, who couldn't quite spring the man he wanted. He got Urban instead, and his wrist, or rather slap shot, whistles wide of the cage. Now Reynolds slides it up to Urban near the right point. He scales it down the half wall. Has defeated to Chamello behind the net. Instead, it's whipped around past Sutliff behind the Macon cage, and Creel's got it. One last chance. Sutliff, the Hail Mary pass that lands flat on the tape of Alexander Tallene. The Rivermen have returned to full strength. The Mayhem dropping to 0 for 4 on the power play, and that's done it for tonight. 4-1 the final score. The Mayhem getting a consolation goal late in period 3. That was scored by Kristaps Bazovics, the lone goal they scored tonight, and it was a nice play. Caleb Cameron, Alexander Tallene setting up Kristaps Bazovics for the glove side snipe on Storm Phaneuf, who was otherwise perfect tonight, had a shutout bid going, and Phaneuf spoiled it. The Mayhem saluting their faithful fans they have in attendance tonight, and when I say faithful, I mean truly faithful. It is now 10:34 p.m. Eastern Time, local time. It's a work night. There's the folks who are here for college night, who got the college ID admission, have school tomorrow night, whether they're Mercer students, Georgia College, what have you. And of course the season ticket holders, most of whom will have work tomorrow. And even though the Mayhem, it's probably been clear for a little while that they were going to have a hard time winning this game, they still stuck around regardless and supported their team. So a sick tap extended in the direction of our loyal fans who stuck around till the very end of this one. The Mayhem hosting the Peoria Rivermen. They knew this would be a battle. They weren't sure to what extent Peoria would challenge them. They knew they would challenge them. They just didn't know. Really, simply put, folks, they didn't know just how good these guys are. They've not seen them all season. They're really their second furthest rival away. They've really only heard things, and hearsay can only go so far. They've not seen it for themselves, and now that they have, the Mayhem probably, I'm sure, will understand after tonight that this team is the real deal. They're deep. They're extremely skilled. Their defensemen do not waste any time. They're tremendous at getting the puck out of their own zone. Their forwards as well. And some of the players that they have, some of their superstars, Ben Blasco and Alec Hageman and Austin Veith, can really do some damage. And Pius Ruluvicius has not been in Peoria for very long. He was recently acquired from the Evansville Thunderbolts. He made a pretty big impact on the game tonight as well. So just lots of weapons and a very experienced coach behind the bench of Peoria and Jean-Guy Trudel. There's a reason they've gone to the President's Cup Championship game in the previous 2 years, folks. They're a very well-coached team. They're consistent. They're in the running each and every year. And tonight it does not appear as though there will be any exception. So 4-1 is the final score, folks. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast in spite of the outcome. We're just getting started. It'll be a long home series between the Mayhem and the Peoria Rivermen. Tomorrow, of course, superhero night here at the Macon Centreplex. Bring your favorite superhero outfit to the game. We'll have Hulk in the lobby of the Centreplex greeting folks as they come in. We'll have a superhero contest challenge. It should be a lot of fun. And then, of course, Camo Night is on Saturday. We'll have camouflage jerseys. Unfortunately, they're not Arctic camo, so you can still see the players pretty well on the ice. But camouflage nonetheless. Those jerseys will be sold off at a live auction by our public address announcer, Charles Campbell, on Saturday following the game. And John Reagan, of course, following Saturday night's game. So that wraps things up from here, folks. Again, 4-1 your final score in favor of the Rivermen. For tickets to tomorrow night's game or to Saturday night's game, if you want a family 4-pack, call the Mayhem front office at 478-803-1592. For general admission tickets, just swing by the box office at 200 Coliseum Drive or visit our website, MaconMayhem.com, and purchase them via Ticketmaster. Till tomorrow night from the Macon Centreplex, folks, Alex Von Coydel signing off and saying we hope you enjoy the rest of your Thursday night. We'll see you tomorrow, folks, right here at the Coliseum.